Hello, my internet fans. It's me, Statboy Mike, and I would like to welcome you to this week's installment of Throwback Thursday. The Casa D18 Studios Channel continues to sort through the archives of the Jeff Meacham Network, the Simple Man brand, JH95 FTW, NoDQ.com, and the Casa Channel in order to bring you classic content that you may not have seen in a long time, if ever. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's Throwback Thursdays offering. I love you all. Statboy out.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Hello pals, Alyssa Marino here, and as a friend of Parker Kane Promotions, I am super excited to share the awesomeness that they've got in store for you this November at WrestleCade. You'll be seeing the world-traveling Capital Championship Wrestling Global Fighting Champ Rebecca J. Scott, a rising star who's been featured on Ladies Night Out, MCW, and more, the stunner Emily J., an internationally traveled talent who you've seen on NXT UK and Stardom, Angel of the Ring Zaya Brookside, and NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion Chicago's sweetheart Missa Kate will also be appearing live. It's all going down WrestleCade weekend in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. You can catch these stars brought to you by Parker Kane Promotions on Saturday, November 25th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And be sure to stick around for Ladies Night Out the following day on Sunday, November 26th. You can get your WrestleCade weekend tickets at WrestleCade.com.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com.
Alright, against my better judgment, I've been compelled to give my SummerSlam thoughts. I was hoping to be better than last year's, and I was sadly disappointed. The highlight for me, honestly, was Beth Phoenix and Santino Marella winning their titles. Winning the Intercontinental Women's title. Although Aaron was pushing for a reversal of the titles. He was begging for it. You should have heard him in the background. Not a little over 2 hours ago now. Oh, anyway. Very disappointed in the ECW title match. 10 seconds or whatever it was. That was stupid. It was very stupid. WWE title match was terrible. World title match was terrible. Like I said, the intergender match was what it was. It was actually pretty good considering what it was. Jeff Hardy and MVP was okay. Hell in a Cell was not as good as Hell in a Cells I've seen in the past, but it was okay. I felt when they left the ring through the cage they should have done more, and they didn't, and it sucked. I think JR got hit in the face, though. I think we were all laughing about poor JR got hit in the face. I think it knocked his glasses off because he didn't wear glasses the rest of the match. I think the cage broke his glasses over his face, which sucks for JR, but it's funnier than hell. The spot off the ladder, the choke slam or the choke throw, whatever you want to call it, through the ring, that was like, okay. We weren't really sure what the payoff was going to be, and all of a sudden, the fire, we're like, oh, okay, that's what he did. He choke slammed him to hell. It makes sense. But we were wondering about poor Edge getting deep fried under there. We were like, oh my god, did he escape? Holy crap. No, okay, he's fine. But enough of that SummerSlam. You don't want to hear that shit from me. You guys want to hear my thoughts on your questions. You guys want to hear my responses to your well thought out and very well typed questions. So with that, here goes episode 31 of Talk Wrestling. This is from Don Domino. Will you guys ever get Scott Hall on your show, and will he ever return to WWE or TNA? He's having a good time wrestling in Puerto Rico and in Mexico right now. I don't think you'll see him come back to either of the two big companies. As far as him being on this show, if he's ever in Southern California, I'd love to have him. I have his MySpace page, so I will MySpace him specifically for you, Don Domino, and for the fans of Talk Wrestling, and see if he'll be on the show. They'll probably make me pay him, which in that case he won't be on the show. I can't afford that, neither can Aaron. But we'll see what happens. I'd like to have Scott Hall on this show. It'd be cool to have his insights on business, because he's been around for over 20 years now. So that'd be cool to have Scott Hall on this program. Hot Rod. So I've been a fan for a long time, and I've got to know, who's your favorite champion? ECW, WCW, WWF/WWE of all time? My favorite ECW champion of all time, before WWE bought ECW, was Taz. Reason for that is because when I started watching ECW in early '99, Taz was the first champion I saw in ECW. The WWE version of ECW, who else am I going to pick? Come on, you guys know, he's been on the show. Come on, help me out there. Hey, Rob Van Dam, exactly. I spoke with Rob recently. He's doing very well. By the way, Sonya is undergoing chemotherapy. She's getting better. And my thoughts and my prayers are with Rob and Sonya Van Dam, and for a speedy recovery for her. And you guys are too fucking cool to be brought down by something like cancer. So kick its ass and take no prisoners. You guys are cool. WCW champion. My favorite WCW champion of all time. Everybody expects me to say Hogan, so I'll go with that. Strictly because Hulk Hogan, as the WCW champion, brought new fortune, brought new glory, brought new notoriety to the WCW title and to WCW as a whole. Especially when he was Hollywood Hogan in the NWO. And WWF or WWE champion. God, there's been so many WWF and WWE champions in the last 18 years that I've been watching wrestling. Oh, man. You know, I'm going to go with Stone Cold Steve Austin. In a tie with Hulk Hogan. Hogan was champion when I started watching. Actually, Warrior was champion when I started watching it, but Warrior's not going to be on my list ever. Unless it's like a worst list, and then Warrior would be on there. But I'd say it's tied between Hogan and Austin for the best WWF WWE champion of all time. This is from, at the time, it said Undertaker please return. This is, he guys changed the screen name yet. But, what do you think was the Undertaker's best feud? Wow. He's had a lot of them. I'd say it's a tie between Mankind and Kane. the Mankind character brought out the demon within the Undertaker, the dark side within the Undertaker, and led to the big heel turn at the end of '98. Because Undertaker and Mankind fought for 2 years, and Undertaker, was brutal against Mankind. We all remember Hell in a Cell. I just watched that match the other day recently, just because I was reading Foley's first book and he was recounting it, and I had to see the match again just to watch how brutal it truly was. It's a sight to behold. And then, of course, the feud with Kane, the brotherly feud that went on for a couple years and was reborn again 4 years ago with the return at WrestleMania 20. Both great feuds, both good storytelling, good drama, good emotional attachment from the fans to the stories, and just very well written on both storylines. Let's see here. Thomas Kennedy, do you think AJ Styles and Kurt Angle should compete in an Iron Man match to continue or end their feud? Well, I mean, they had a last man standing match at Hard Justice. What more do you want out of those guys? They beat the crap out of each other in that match. And at this point in his career, I don't think Angle's ready for an Iron Man match. It's very hard for somebody in Angle's condition with his injuries to go 30 or 60 with a guy like AJ Styles. I don't see that as happening. I think it's just unrealistic. I really do. This is from Destin. Beth Phoenix has been saying that she's the most dominant female wrestler, past, present, and future. So what do you think of a possible Beth Phoenix feud with the short-term return of China? I'd like to see that. I really would like to see that. However, after speaking with Joni Lauer China many times in the last few years, I can tell you right now, it'll be a cold day in hell before she works for Vince McMahon again. She hates Vince McMahon. She hates Triple H and Stephanie for what she perceived as they did to her. And it is very unlikely it'll happen. If it does happen, Beth will get the win in the feud because China will be pushed short term, then she'll go away again. But I'd like to see Beth Phoenix now against the China of '99 or 2000 because that'd be a great feud. I'd like to see that a lot. Another one from Thomas Kennedy. What's your opinion on the state of WWE's tag team division right now compared to TNA's? Sucks. All three tag team divisions suck. SmackDowns, Raws, and TNA's. They're terrible. I mentioned this on the show, I believe it was last week's show, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I have trouble keeping track of shows. The tag team divisions in wrestling, unless you're on the indie circuit, are terrible. And even the indie circuit, they're putting teams together at the last minute, but at least there's decent teams you see. Ring of Honor has a great tag team division. I've watched their stuff. They're incredible with their tag team titles. Briscoes, Age of the Fall, the Kings of Wrestling back in the day. All those guys, they're great. So yeah, the tag team divisions in the mainstream wrestling suck. I don't like tag team wrestling right now. Let's see. Hey, this is from L. Hey there, Jeff. I just have a question about WWE. Don't know how to word it, but how do you feel about the WWE title and the world title being defended by the same 4 or 5 people, and they keep the feuds going for months on end? Do you feel it gets boring after the first few months? In this day and age, yes. Back in the day, when you didn't have, 5 hours of TV to put together every week, of live TV to put together every week for the fans, you could draw out a feud for months at a time. And you didn't have pay-per-views, you had pay-per-views once every few months. You could do that. You could draw out feuds for months at a time. Look at Hogan Warrior. Look at Hogan Slaughter. Look at Hogan Orndorff. Hogan and Andre. Savage and Hogan, which dragged on. Flair and Sting. Flair and Steamboat. All those feuds that drug on. Flair and Terry Funk, which went on for all of '89. Flair and Magnum TA, or Flair and Dusty, which went on forever. But in this day and age, it's hard to keep the fans' interest. It's hard to keep the people's interest in general with a feud that goes on and on and on and on. Personally, I'm sick of seeing Orton and Triple H. That's why Orton is hurt. I'm actually glad Randy got hurt. Not that he got hurt, but I'm glad they took him out of the title picture, and I'm glad they focused on new people for the WWE Championship to be challenged for. That makes sense, but you know what I'm trying to say. I like the fact that they put CM Punk as the world champion, and have allowed him to face different people. They do tend to draw out the feuds for a long time, and it gets old because you see the same thing on TV every week. You see the same match on pay-per-view every month, and it gets old. They find ways to revitalize the feuds, like with Edge and Undertaker. They had the match at WrestleMania, they had the match at Backlash, and they had a TLC match, the Kane's falling. Then they had a Hell in a Cell match, and that one seemed to work. It seemed to be drawn out. It seemed to build toward something bigger and better every time. But you don't see feuds like that too much anymore. Alright, this is from Michael. What do you think wrestling would be like if Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan never left for WCW? Wow. Philosophical question. Well, if Hogan had never left for WCW, had never joined WCW in the summer of 1994, I don't think there ever would have been a Monday Night Wars. I think WCW would have folded a lot sooner than they did. WCW at the time was still losing money. WCW at the time was not a profitable company for Ted Turner's organization. And if it hadn't been for Ted Turner Broadcasting and CNN and all that, would have closed WCW a long time before that. They were out of business in '92 almost, 2 years before Hogan was still with the WWE. Bret Hart leaving did not make much of an impact as everybody thought it would. As far as on WCW, he was pushed to the mid-card very quickly and just became one of the boys in WCW. Bret Hart's leaving had a huge impact on WWE, the WWF at the time, because it allowed Vince McMahon to evolve into the Mr. McMahon character that we all know and love today, and be a great foil for the anti-hero Stone Cold Steve Austin to play off of. And that was the feud of the year for 2 years, 98-99. And without that feud, the Attitude Era wouldn't have been revitalized, it wouldn't have been really established, and Austin may not have rose to the heights that he did. So it had a huge, Bret Hart leaving had a huge impact on WWE, not so much on WCW. This is from Joker, much like Aaron's shirt. Is Awesome Kong's assistant Raisha Saeed related to, or at least trained by, the Great Muta? Because her stance and fighting style is extremely similar. Raisha Saeed, better known as Cheerleader Melissa on the Indy circuit, to my knowledge, is not trained by the Great Muta. I believe she was trained here in the United States on the East Coast. I can look it up. I don't have the answer right in front of me, obviously. I don't have a computer. But I don't believe she was trained by Muta. She does have a very similar stance to Muta, but she's trying to adopt the martial arts style of her fighting for the Raisha Saeed character. So you'll see a lot of Japanese stuff incorporated into her stance and into her fighting style. But I don't believe Muta trained her, no. Accidentally in Love wants to know what I think was the worst heel turn in pro wrestling history. Not worst as in a good heel, but just a bad character of being heel. His opinion is Goldberg when he was in WCW as a heel. I would agree. That was a terrible heel turn. That lasted like 3 weeks. Goldberg turned on Nash, I believe it was, and speared him and let Jeff Jarrett retain the WCW Championship. And immediately, and that was a last minute thing. Bischoff and Russo promised a big surprise at the Great American Bash that year, and it fell through. So they said, let's turn Goldberg heel, and they did it, and it sucked. He was terrible heel. Goldberg was never going to be anything but a dominant babyface, except when he was WWE, when he sucked. Goldberg was much better over as a monster babyface, as a huge babyface, and that heel turn killed the momentum he had. And he had no reason to turn heel for Russo. He was against Russo. The whole booking in WCW at that point made me cringe. It was just terrible. I stopped watching after a while. It was terrible. Next week on Talk Wrestling, we'll talk more about your questions. We'll delve into more things, and we'll see what else will happen. You never know what's going to happen on Talk Wrestling, so for now, stay tuned. Same bat time, same bat channels, because we have 3 channels, NoDQ.com, MySpace, and YouTube, NoDQ&AV. Leave the comments, ask the questions on the MySpace or the Yahoo email. The inboxes are open, so send them in, and we'll see you next time.
now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Casa D18 Studios.
Really? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this special episode on the Casa D18 Studios channel. Not exactly sure what this is going to be labeled as. I guess you could technically call it Renegade of Rants Part 2.
I like it.
I'm the Renegade of Wrestling, J.J. Williams.
I'm Statboy Mike Caldwell, and I'm Statboy Approved.
As is this episode.
As always. You know the drill.
We're going to be bringing a special show to you today. Today is Halloween, and we are going to go through our top 10 horror films of all time.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to throw this out here real quickly. In no way, shape, or form are we saying that these are the greatest movies ever made.
No.
Everyone's going to have their own opinion.
That's right.
As a matter of fact, after we give our opinion, Jeff and Jade are going to hit the studio, and they're going to give their opinions. So everyone's going to have a different opinion. No one's trying to say these are the greatest movies ever made. These are just our favorites.
That's right. These are the ones we cannot live without.
Yeah.
We have to watch every Halloween with our family, with the lights down low.
Or we don't even have to watch them on Halloween. You know, they're so good we can watch them the rest of the year too.
There you go. What's your number 10?
Actually, you know, I was going to let you go ahead and start and do your 10 first, being as how this was my suggestion to the Casa.
Oh,
I'll let you do your 10 first as the guest.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go ahead and take mine.
You don't want to go back and forth?
No.
Okay. Number 10, from 1959, Vincent Price and the House on Haunted Hill.
Excellent movie.
I saw that for the first time a few years back with Pop. Pop actually introduced that to me.
That was actually one of the ones that I was going to put into my list, but it ended up not making the cut.
Basically, the premise was spend the night in a haunted house, earn $10,000.
Yeah.
If you die, your family gets the money. So either way, you sort of win. But, you know...
But it's Vincent Price. That's kind of all that needs to be said. It's like when you talk about a horror movie and you say it's Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
It's Boris Karloff.
There you go.
It's Vincent Price.
It's Vincent Price. Power to you. Number 9, Freddy vs. Jason, 2003. Had to put that in there, but I did put it at the bottom of the list. I did not put it at the top. When it first came out, it was, you know, the biggest hype. You know, they even did it like a boxing fight. They actually gave stats on Freddy, stats on Jason, you know, so I had to throw that in there. I actually did like the movie. But I didn't put it high.
Are you only doing it in there because of the stats and your stat boy?
Damn right.
This is another one that I was looking at as a potential for my list and didn't make the cut. A lot of people shit on Freddy vs. Jason, but at the end of the day, it was a great concept on paper that was just badly executed. You want to know how this movie was supposed to go? Hit up Bruce Edwards on Facebook and ask him to tell you how he would have started Freddy vs. Jason, the opening 5 to 10 minutes that he would have done. And once you read or hear that description, you're going to be like, the fuck was that shit that New Line fed me?
Who knows? Number 8 on my list, Halloween H2O from 1998.
Okay.
I liked it. You know, it had been a while between that and something else. Oh, we had a little. Well, we almost had one. Okay. Anyway, And wasn't it was LL in that movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, LL, and of course Jamie Lee Curtis. Can't go wrong with that. You know, I like the movie. I didn't put it higher though. We're getting to that. Number 7.
Really quickly,
Go ahead.
seems to be a pattern here. H2O's another one that just didn't make the cut.
Wow,
on my list.
man, this is great.
When I originally started with 30 movies.
He did.
When I got down to like 14, 15, H2O was still there.
Wow.
But it just didn't make the top 10.
All right. Number 7 from 1996, Scream.
Okay.
Of course, you know, it's another one of those like you try and figure out who done it at the end. And of course, if it wasn't for Scream, we wouldn't have the rules of horror movies, which apply to every.
Jamie Kennedy.
You know, Jamie Kennedy was the bomb in that movie. You know.
Not as good as Affleck was in Phantoms, though. 'Cause Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms.
Well said. That's a home run ball right there.
Scream does pop up on my list. I'll wait till you're done to let you know where it comes in for me.
Number 6, Urban Legend, 1998.
Okay.
I really like that one, especially the scene with the Pop Rocks and Pepsi.
Gotta love the Pop Rock.
I have yet to try that. I've done Diet Coke and Mentos, but I've never done Pop Rocks and Pepsi.
Josh Jackson, little Charlie Conway at his best, baby.
And Robert
He's the one
Englund.
that did that shit.
And Robert Englund was in that. He played the professor.
Yeah, but Josh Jackson is the one that actually did the Pop Rocks and Pepsi.
And I think he actually got his. I think Robert Englund actually. Yeah, he did die in that movie too.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, Freddie kind of got it twice. Number 5, 1932, the original Mummy.
Ooh.
Very good.
Very good
I
choice.
did like the original Mummy. You know, it made the story simple, unlike the Brendan Fraser one, where you got all the CGI and all the cool fight scenes and all that.
I'm telling you right now, CGI kills horror movies.
Yeah. Wait till I get to my number 1.
Oh crap.
I was good.
The Mummy I didn't even consider, but it is a really good choice. I definitely have my share of Universal monster movies on the list, though. But Mummy just didn't make it.
There you go. Number 4, from 1990, Child's Play 2. I like the sequel better than the first. I didn't like Part 3 because Part 3 had bastardized it. Part 4 was an attempt at a reboot that, honestly, let's face it, failed. 5 was, oh, come on, are you kidding me?
I will give you 3 and 5. I thought that 1, 2, and Bride were by far the best of the series. 2 just didn't really do it for me, though. I mean, they freaking had Emily Valentine from 90210 in there. I was like, seriously?
And of course, the way Chucky gets it at the end, he finally.
I was good on Child's Play 2.
I liked it. Number 3, 1960, Psycho.
Okay.
You know, Norman Bates and his mama. Whew. And of course, you can't go wrong without the shower scene.
Let's not forget a nod to Janet Leigh, Jamie's mama.
There you go.
Who was
Alfred
the
Hitchcock.
original Scream Queen.
One of the greatest directors, if not the greatest directors of horror movies. I would say that. I would say Hitchcock was the best.
I don't know if I'd say he's the best. Definitely I'd put Hitchcock in probably my top 5, but I don't know if I could say he's the best, especially with guys like Wes Craven and Stephen King.
Good point. Number 2, the original Halloween, 1978.
Okay.
Kill. No, wait, that was one that I didn't put on my list. I did not put Friday the 13th on my list. Ooh. What could number 1 be?
Drum roll.
1941, The Wolfman. Lon Chaney Jr. There you go. You know.
Okay.
And like I say, as I said before, CGI bastardized it. The remake, as good as it, I will give. The only points I'll give it to you was Anthony Hopkins. That's it.
I don't even give it that.
The original, much better. So there's my top 10.
I completely agree with you that the original Wolfman was much better than the remake.
Your turn.
Alright, I'm going to start my list here. Number 10.
Number 10.
Scream.
Ooh, you had it lower than me.
I did have it lower than you, and the main reason I put it as low as I did isn't because I don't like it, but I just feel like you kind of said earlier, it killed the horror genre for me. I cannot sit and watch a horror movie, past, present, future releases. I cannot watch them the same way since Jamie Kennedy gave the rules of a horror movie. And then in Scream 2, he did the rules of a sequel, and then they brought him back in Scream 3 for the rules of a trilogy. I just cannot watch horror movies the same anymore. So, it was a great movie. It was definitely, dare I say, even a little bit ahead of its time with the whole double killer, but
Oh yeah, 2
I had to put it at 10 just because I think it killed everything else. Number 9, a made-for-TV movie that gets very little love in the horror genre.
What is it? What is it?
Stephen King's Sometimes They Come Back.
Oh, I totally forgot about that
1991.
one. Oh, I like that one with the
Tim
train.
Matheson. Basically, it's about a couple of brothers. I want to say it's either the 50s or 60s.
Yeah, it was in that. Yeah.
And the older brother gets killed by this group of thugs.
That's right.
And it's kind of like a mass murder because 3 of the thugs get theirs too.
Yeah.
Then about 30 years later, on the anniversary,
they come back.
All these things start coming back and kids start disappearing, and miraculously these thugs are showing up in his classroom now. Tim Matheson's a teacher. And it's just great storytelling. Stephen King at his finest. I really recommend people Netflix it or see if you can rent it somewhere. It's a really good movie.
It is. That's a good one.
Number 8 from 1980, the original Friday the 13th.
There you go. Not the rebooted one, right?
Yeah, I said 1980. Big ups to the homie Bruce for showing this to me. I had never seen the original Friday until probably about 5 years ago. And Bruce finally sat me down with it. Was like, look, you just got to check these out. And Friday the 13th, Mrs. Voorhees as the original killer.
Yeah.
It totally made you think because everyone thinks the Friday the 13th is about Jason.
Nope.
But it really isn't in the beginning. It's about Mama getting revenge.
And
a small part by Kevin Bacon in the original.
So if you want to play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, use Friday the 13th.
Yeah, but where the fuck do you go from there? Because none of those fuckers did anything else, I don't think.
Yeah, they all got theirs at the end.
Number 7, something you had already named, and the only movie on my list that was more recent than Scream.
Oh?
Urban Legend.
Urban Legend, there you go.
I loved Urban Legend. I loved the twist in the movie at the end and who the killer actually was the whole time. Those of you that haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But with Josh Jackson in the movie, Tara Reid, Rebecca Gayheart, the Noxzema girl, and Dylan's love interest on 90210 for a while there. It was a really good cast. Like you already mentioned, Robert Englund was even in it. Really good cast of people in it. And it was a good twist at the end.
That's right.
One that, even with Scream giving away the rules, I didn't see coming.
Ah.
That's why it's higher than Scream is. Number 6, 1931, Dracula.
Ooh.
That's right. Out of Dracula and Frankenstein, I think I enjoyed Dracula just a little bit better. Frankenstein was actually going to be on my list, but it ended up getting eliminated in the final cut.
Ah.
Mainly because of Dracula's pimp line when he finally introduces himself.
Goody.
My name is Dracula. I bid you welcome.
I didn't put it in my list.
Freaking epic Bela Lugosi, seriously.
I need to see it again. If I would have seen it again, I would have put it in my list. But
it's all good. It's all good. Like we said, it's everyone's opinion.
Right.
Number 5, 1978, the original Halloween.
There you go. You had
definitely thought Halloween had to be in there somewhere. Not the Rob Zombie remake. That was blood and guts for the sake of blood and guts.
Yeah.
I didn't dislike Rob Zombie's version, but I think he went a little bit overboard making a gory horror movie. Michael Myers doesn't have to be overboard gory.
He has the
you
eyes.
You cannot see his emotions. That is frightening in of itself.
The eyes of the devil are in that child.
Number 4 from 1984, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ah.
Featuring Johnny Depp's theatrical debut.
What a way to start your movie career, by getting gutted.
Totally, and look at where he is now. Look at where he is now. Captain Jack Sparrow gets offed in probably the best death scene in the whole fucking movie. And now he's a freaking god. Seriously.
I'm not going to worship him, though.
Number 3, another made-for-TV movie.
Uh-oh.
From 1990, It.
Oh, how did I miss that one?
They float,
They
Mikey.
float. They all float. I thought that would be your number 1.
No.
Oh, wait, no, wait. I know what you're... I think I know what your number... Go ahead with it.
Number 2, Child's Play.
Okay.
Chucky is the shit. The original Child's Play. You know, the fact that they essentially took a My Buddy doll and made it an evil little fuck scared kids for years.
Bella, give me the power.
I am still thinking about going on eBay and trying to find a My Buddy doll to give to Jeff's boy.
Ooh, that would ooh, you a little torturous little devil, you.
Damn right. And then I'll get Kid Sister for my daughter. Ooh. Everyone forgot about Kid Sister, didn't you? Didn't you? Admit it! It's because Kid Sister's floating down with Pennywise. And my number 1, just like yours, from 1941. Yeah. Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. The Wolfman.
Enough said. There it is, right there. You know? So, those are our lists.
So for all you twitards, I guess according to my list, werewolves are better than vampires. But I did give the vampires some respect.
Ah, Twitards, I like what you did.
Fuck Twilight, by the way.
I
just wanted to throw that out there. They freaking killed vampires and werewolves.
And they sparkle when they go, apparently.
Yeah.
What's up with that? I want a vampire that you know, just collapses in the dust like you're supposed to.
There's a lot of movies that, you know, we both went on Wikipedia and we were looking through for stuff, and I was going like year by year. There's a lot of fucking movies listed on Wikipedia that shouldn't even count as fucking horror movies. Seriously. They had Brendan Fraser's The Mummy listed in there. And you click the link and it's like 1990 adventure film. So why the fuck is it listed in horror?
You know?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The 1992 Kirsty Swanson Luke Perry movie. Seriously? Seriously. Just because it's vampires, it's horror?
And Paul Rubens.
That movie was fucking comedy. It had Pee Wee Herman in it. And David Arquette.
Come on, Pike. I'm hungry. I want to eat. I'm hungry.
And Ben Affleck.
I'm not doing anything Ben Affleck. I'm sorry.
Hey, I already gave Ben Affleck props for Phantoms.
You were the bomb in Phantoms, yo.
The Lost Boys.
Never saw it.
I've never considered that a horror movie. It may very well be, but again, they had Queen of the Damned in there.
That's not a horror movie?
I don't consider it. I consider it, you know, like a love story. It's a drama to me. Okay. It just happens to do with vampires.
Okay. I'll give you that one.
You know, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That's a musical.
Just because it's got the word horror in the title means it classifies as a horror movie?
It's a cult classic, yes. I mean, the only gruesome thing in there is Meatloaf in the coffin. That's
and Tim Curry in drag. That's pretty gruesome.
There are, yeah, well, some people like that kind of
stuff. That's Rooster, for Christ's sakes. That's a horrible mental image on a childhood icon.
I got you on that one.
So, what do y'all think? Post your comments onto this episode. Post your comments on Jeff's and Jade's episode. Let us know what you think the best movies are. Let us know stuff that you think we may have left out.
That's right.
Now, just one other thing I want to add before we cut here. Just want you to know, one of the main stipulations was that we had to have seen the movie.
Yeah, don't put a movie...
So don't be like going off about all these movies, and it's like, the reason they probably weren't on there was because we haven't seen them.
Exactly.
I'll let you know right now, and it's probably going to shock the viewers.
What's that?
I've never seen the Saw movies. No interest. Look
Nope.
fucking retarded to me.
Nope.
So, I don't want to see a whole bunch of, dude, Saw is epic.
It spawned 6 movies. It has to be cool.
No. You want to, I can argue that argument right there.
Go ahead.
Friday the 13th spawned 11.
There it is.
More than half of them were garbage.
There you go. Exactly. You know?
So, for the next time, make sure you tune in to Jeff and Jade's version. I'm the Renegade of Wrestling. Stat Boy, make sure you get these fucking shirts.
I want to see them,
They
folks.
are Stat Boy approved.
Damn right. And have a happy and safe Halloween.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
You ever wanted to come into a sports bar where the barkeeps know their game? Well, the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, has got a production just for you. Sit down and relax as the Stat Boy and his partner break down the statistics in all things sports. Whether it's football, basketball, motorsports, baseball, hockey, soccer, professional wrestling, mixed martial arts, boxing, and much, much more. All are welcome. Your barkeeps here keep you up to date and in the know of everything going on in sports, while also having a pleasant conversation about it all. Your host and owner of the bar, Stat Boy Mike. His partner in crime, Dory Lou. And a host of other guests coming in. The food's hot, the seats are warm, the drinks are ice cold, and the sports talk is plentiful. Casa D18 Studios presents Stat Boy Sports Bar. Take a bar stool and enjoy the show. Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Casa D18 Studios.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the second installment of Chicks on Wrestling with the one and only Pinky and my girl Jay. We have with us my homie, my friend, the one and only Chris Cadillac. Hello. Say what's cracking, baby.
Hi, how are you guys watching this on
on YouTube. I've known Chris Cadillac for the last 4.5 years. He's been one of my coolest friends. And quick question for you, Caddy. Did you?
I gotta go watch my match.
I definitely enjoyed the match.
The match today was it was what it was. It was a really great match. I got to team with somebody I never got to team with. Who's a new member of the Working Dead, Tyler Bateman. Tyler Bateman is one of the most definite, hardest hitting people I've ever gotten the privilege to wrestle myself.
I agree.
And it's one of those things of he helped us last month, and that was really good. Him and Race came out, they saved us. Race, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Race speared Mondo Vega.
Oh, she's a kick-ass chick. Oh my gosh, she's awesome.
It was really good. Tyler Bateman, I can't say enough good things about it. I was really glad. I was really glad that he saved us last week, or last month. But this match was, it was a, like I can't take anything away from Order 66. They're a good team. We just happen to hit harder and be a little bit smarter. So, I love the match.
It was absolutely amazing. For my first Battleground Pro Wrestling show, this is what I got. I got an amazing family, wrestlers that really care about the business, and I got to see one of my longtime friends, Chris Cadillac. It was amazing to see you in the ring again.
Oh, thank you.
I haven't seen this gentleman since I left Southern California last year, and it was amazing to see him again. Do you have any big plans for the future?
No.
No. I'm just like it as a no.
I'm just kind of winging it right now.
Okay.
I'm a little more in tune with my family situation, with my son and whatnot. And, oh, hey, there's my normal tag team partner. Hey, boy.
What'd you say?
Ladies and gentlemen,
My tag team partner.
No, wait a minute.
Oh, hey. Not with the beer. Thank you. Thank you for taking me.
Hey, B.
Shit just got real.
Hey, B, that's called backup, homie.
Yeah.
Wait, is this serious like that?
Yes.
Yeah, this
Oh, you know what? I don't do it.
See, come here.
Well, me and my new tag team partner, Famous B.
Oh!
Replace him with Bateman?
Oh, damn!
Is this Sasha carrying your team? No, he carries the bags.
Yeah, this is an interview.
I know, right? Chicks on Wrestling. Oh my God, this got real hilarious. Okay, I just say my line. This got funky. Oh yeah, for those who don't know, have a seat. For those who don't know, this is my boy Famous B, who had an amazing match.
It's funny because he's not famous at all.
Nobody.
And you are.
It seems to me you had a fantastic match against Dragon. I'm sorry, Dragon, I believe you, but it was funny as hell. Everybody knows you. Where do we know you from, Mississippi?
Where do we know me from?
Where do we the fans know you from? Where did you get your start? Blah 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 blah.
This is a real life. This is
our show Chicks on Wrestling.
This is a shoot.
Chicks on Wrestling. This is Chicks on Wrestling.
Is this a real life shoot or is this wrestling with dads or what are we doing here? Like,
No. Chicks on Wrestling. Chicks on Wrestling. Right. This is our. Okay. Let's get some chicks in there then. Come on, bring them over here, girl. Come here. Okay.
Hey, Rudy, get over here. You know.
We say Cadillac is a big
We got some chicks in here now. Rudy is close enough.
Thank you.
Another
She's got kicked. Totally, she's our backup. That's right.
Another attitude. Wow.
Wait, so I have a question.
Yes.
Oh.
What got you into wrestling?
Wow. Hey, for me personally, Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy.
Yeah.
I mean, because honestly, you know, I've been a fan of wrestling like my entire life, and it wasn't until I got a flyer from there saying like they have a training academy and come train with them, and that's when I really started thinking about it. Like, wrestling, I've been watching it my whole life. You know, let me see like what it's all about. Just try to, you know, just test the waters out and go and just, you know, see what's up. I mean, it's not until you get like. It's not until somebody tell you like, oh, you can actually do this. Like, if you want to, here's the number, call it, make it happen. But of course, it takes time. You're not gonna go like, oh, the next day, unless you're already thinking like, oh, I want to be a wrestler, I want to train.
Right.
But it was like not until they brought it to my attention to do it, and then when I did it, I just never looked back.
Well, me myself, you know my home is Indy. What pushed me, honest to God, what pushed me to wrestling was my wife. My wife, she told me one day, because I talked about wrestling forever. She told me, hey, why don't you actually? I didn't want to wake up. I didn't want to wake up 10 years from now.
Yeah.
So I did it. I took to it like a fish in the water, and I love wrestling.
Were you always into wrestling? Or?
Oh yeah. Ray Roses put it best. You want to start wrestling, you have to love it.
Yes.
Your heart has to be there.
I hear a lot of people like, well, I have like a few friends that, you know, like old friends or like school friends.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my God! Ladies and gentlemen, that was the ass of Tito SK. I got a question for you. Do you wrestle with compression pipe? I say no. You don't wrestle with compression tight.
This could have been on real life.
Yes.
Wrestling fight.
Tito's ass.
Oh, that's just kind of wrong.
This guy.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Oh my God. Oh, in the world, it says, ladies and gentlemen, it is Peter.
What's up, man?
Can I spit something?
We didn't have a show for you, bro.
There is a tag team in the Midwest by the name of the Kentucky Buffet.
I just came
Matt Cage and Alex Castle. I want to wrestle you. You gentlemen, I enjoy your stuff. It's very entertaining. Now, I know this interview or whatnot has not been taken seriously, but I'm going to tell you right now with a very serious face, gentlemen. The Working Dead is more than up to a challenge. I see you guys, you are a challenge. Whether it be me and Bateman, whether it be me and B-Boy, whether it be me and Raised, it does not matter. Gentlemen, we will come in contact soon. I promise you this. And I'm out this motherfucker.
And ladies and gentlemen, Cadillac is gone, and we are replacing Marquillo Shane. No. Come here.
I love you, chick, but no.
No, that's not working.
It happened.
Oh my Lord, oh my God. Oh my God! Oh! Stop that.
That is all.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Hello pals, Alyssa Marino here, and as a friend of Parker Kane Promotions, I am super excited to share the awesomeness that they've got in store for you this November at WrestleCade. You'll be seeing the world-traveling Capital Championship Wrestling Global Fighting Champ Rebecca J. Scott, a rising star who's been featured on Ladies Night Out, MCW, and more, the stunner Emily J., an internationally traveled talent who you've seen on NXT UK and Stardom, Angel of the Ring Zaya Brookside, and NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion Chicago's sweetheart Missa Kate will also be appearing live. It's all going down WrestleCade weekend in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. You can catch these stars brought to you by Parker Kane Promotions on Saturday, November 25th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And be sure to stick around for Ladies Night Out the following day on Sunday, November 26th. You can get your WrestleCade weekend tickets at WrestleCade.com.
Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com.
Welcome everyone to NoDQ&A video here on NoDQ.com. I am the owner of NoDQ Aaron Rift, here to answer your questions about the world of professional wrestling. So let's get right down to it. What is the current status of the brand extension? Well, it's still going on. It's not dead yet. WWE was hoping that by doing the Raw Super Show, they would be able to improve ratings and improve attendance for SmackDown by having the SmackDown guys on Raw and getting more exposure. But up to this point, it's not really working. The Raw ratings have still been down, although it was up this week, but that was because it was the night after a pay-per-view. And SmackDown's attendance has just been awful. The last couple weeks, just not good at all. I think 2 weeks ago they did something like 3,000 people in the building, and this week they had to tarper off like half of the arena, you know, the hard camera side that you don't see on TV. So it was pretty bad. I think WWE is going to try to keep it going as long as possible, but at some point it could be the end for SmackDown, and it would not surprise me if by next year they merge the two brands together as one and just have Raw and then SmackDown be an extension of Raw. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but yeah, it's not looking good at this point. What do you think about Matt Hardy going to rehab? Well, I'm happy that Matt's finally going to rehab and getting the help that he needs. I'm hoping that when he's in rehab, they don't allow him to go on the internet or anything. He needs to just stay away from the wrestling business completely, and that includes the internet, and just get the help he needs. And I'm glad that WWE has this program for him because, yeah, we really don't want to see him be another casualty. And, you know, I like the guy a lot, and I don't want to see him in the situation that he's been in. So hopefully things work out for him. Would you support the WWE going back to a Big Four pay-per-view system, as in WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble? We have too many pay-per-views at the moment, and feuds seem to last weeks at best, and title reigns are even shorter. Well, the thing that I'm concerned about is that if they were to do that and go back to 4 pay-per-views, with WWE's booking team, I could just imagine them not building for pay-per-view until like 2 weeks before the show. It'd be the same situation. It's not so much that there's too many pay-per-views, it's that WWE doesn't make the pay-per-views important anymore and make them feel special or something different from Raw or SmackDown. So that's really what the issue is right there. Although I would like to see them cut at least a few pay-per-views. I think 2 pay-per-views in October is pushing it just a little bit. Hey Aaron, do you think the WWE is having too many special type matches in their pay-per-views as of late? Remember when a match type was rare to pay-per-view and actually meant something? Love the website, love the videos, you're doing a great job. Well, thank you very much, whoever sent in that question, for those comments. Yeah, I definitely agree that, they're killing the stipulations by having Hell in a Cell. I mean, what's the point of the Hell in a Cell match? It's not even, you look at the triple threat match. It's just, I don't know. It would make sense if they were doing like Punk versus Triple H in a Hell in a Cell match because, the whole storyline reasoning would be that they want to keep all the outside interference, eliminate that whole problem. But they're just throwing a triple threat match for no reason in a Hell in a Cell match. And, they're doing that with the other stipulations. They just have them there for the sake of doing them. Just no reason behind it. And, yeah, I really do not like the themed pay-per-views. And I think that's not the WWE thinks that that's the solution to the problem when it's not. It's the, like I said before, building up the pay-per-views and, making them special and getting people interested in ordering them. Have you heard any possible sites for WrestleMania 29? I think they should have it at the Cowboys Stadium and break the world indoor attendance record set by WrestleMania 3. Also, do you think the WrestleMania 3 attendance was legit? I actually have heard about Dallas, Toronto, Indianapolis. Those are the main ones that I've heard up to this point. As far as the WrestleMania 3 attendance, they always say 93,000, but it was actually like around 78,000, and they just exaggerated the number, which they do a lot for many of these WrestleManias over the years. They've always made up a fake number higher than what it actually is. I remember one time WCW, I think in the Georgia Dome, they did something like 40,000 people, and Tony Schiavone said that there was like 37,000 people in the building. So that's WCW for you right there. Funny story. With WWE officially signing Claudio Castagnoli, do you see him having major success? After all, he is an amazing in-ring performer and matches the build of the guys WWE likes. I think he has a pretty good shot. If CM Punk's success is any indication, I think he'll do well. I think that WWE's starting to open up to pushing guys that made a name for themselves on the Indies circuit. So I think guys like Claudio and Chris Hero and Samoa Joe, if he ends up in WWE, they have a good shot. I think Punk has really broken that barrier for them. Just wanted your advice on something. I'm 16 and a wrestling nerd, but my parents keep telling me to get out of this wrestling stage, but I can't see me ever stop watching it. It's my life. What do I say to them? And do you have the same problem? Well, if you enjoy something, then you pursue it. If you like wrestling, you watch it. Don't let somebody tell you that you shouldn't watch wrestling. But I could see why they're concerned. I don't know, do you wear wrestling t-shirts everywhere you go? Is your room covered with posters and belts? If so, maybe you might want to just cut back a little bit on it. I could see them, if you're dating or whatever, they could be concerned about that. And, that stereotype that wrestling fans are these nerdy people in their computer basement. And, there is more to life than wrestling. So, just go out, do things, hang out with friends or whatever. But, you can still watch wrestling, obviously. Yeah, don't lose interest in it just because your parents tell you to stop watching it. And, yeah, I kind of had the same problem, but this is my job, so, there you have it. Why haven't WWE done the Undertaker Cena feud yet? The best way for WWE to draw money is to do that match at WrestleMania. I think it would be one of the biggest matches in WWE history. Cena is the only big threat left to the Undertaker's streak. Yeah, that's a really good question. Why haven't they done John Cena versus Undertaker? My theory on it is that they just don't want to have John Cena lose to Undertaker, and they don't plan on ending the streak, and they don't want to make Cena look weak. That's the only logical explanation I can think of for why they haven't done that match. They just wanted to keep them apart and Cena's their top babyface. They don't want to have him go into WrestleMania and get booed. And, going back to a few months ago, that was like the rumor that they didn't want to do Cena versus Rock at WrestleMania because they were worried Cena's going to get booed out of the building, and they're trying to push him as a top babyface. And so yeah, that's why I think that the match hasn't happened. And at this point, it's looking like it's not going to happen because who knows how many years the Undertaker has left in him. Hey Aaron, love the show. Keep up the good work. My question to you is, what are your 5 of your favorite crowd-popping moments? Goldberg winning the WCW title in the Georgia Dome. Ric Flair's return when he came out and reunited the Horsemen. And Chris Jericho's debut for WWE. Chris Jericho winning the WWE title from Triple H, and then only to lose it like 30 minutes later. And Mick Foley winning the WWE title. Those would be my top 5. What was your favorite Raw theme song? Mine was Across the Nation back around 2004. Do you think there's a possibility of bringing it back because that made Raw feel more special? My favorite was the Thorn in Your Eye from 1999, 2000, 2001. Just that brings back the most memories for me, and I like their own unique song, not something that they just use from the radio or whatever, like Nickelback or Papa Roach. I like their own theme song. Hey Aaron, what is one of your favorite Randy Orton matches? Mine happened to be against Mick Foley at Backlash 2004. I always liked the WrestleMania 21 match with Undertaker because I was there live, and I always thought that was one of the most underrated Undertaker WrestleMania matches. Just the crowd really bought into the idea that Orton could end the streak. And the crowd heat was just, amazing. And the match was just really good. What was your favorite promo mess-up? Mine would have to be Sid on Nitro when he said, "You are half the man that I am, and I have half the brain that you do." And then they cut to Scott Hall, and he's just, trying so hard not to laugh. Yeah, that was great stuff right there. All right, that about does it for No DQ&A video. Thank you very much to the No D crew for checking out the videos, and keep subscribing, keep spreading the word. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time for No DQ&A video on NoDQ.com.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
You ever wanted to come into a sports bar where the barkeeps know their game? Well, the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, has got a production just for you. Sit down and relax as the stat boy and his partner break down the statistics in all things sports. Whether it's football, basketball, motorsports, baseball, hockey, soccer, professional wrestling, mixed martial arts, boxing, and much, much more. All are welcome. Your barkeeps here keep you up to date and in the know of everything going on in sports, while also having a pleasant conversation about it all. your host and owner of the bar, Stat Boy Mike. His partner in crime, Dory Lou. And a host of other guests coming in. The food's hot, the seats are warm, the drinks are ice cold, and the sports talk is plentiful. Casa D18 Studios presents Stat Boy Sports Bar. Take a bar stool and enjoy the show. The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Casa D18 Studios.
Stat Boy, and as always, these rants are Stat Boy approved. This is episode 31. Stat Boy Rants is almost as old as I am. Woohoo! Today's episode, I'm going to try something a little new. As many of you should know, I like reality TV, and CBS has started season 24 of Survivor. So I'm going to rant about what happened on last week's episode, and if it decides to go okay, I might do it as a weekly thing, or I might just touch on it, or if it starts to go sour, I will stop it completely, and then I'll focus on The Amazing Race, which starts on Saturday, or on Sunday, right after the Elimination Chamber on pay-per-view. So, Survivor is dubbed One World. They have taken 18 strangers, broken them up to men versus women, 9 on a side, and the big twist is all 18 castaways are living on the same beach, at the same camp. They are 2 separate tribes, but they all live together. Apparently, CBS wants the backstabbing to all happen at the same place. Plus, it cuts down on production costs. The episode starts with all the castaways on a truck. They come in, Jeff Probst is there and says, you guys have got 60 seconds to pull whatever supplies you can off of the truck and you get to take them to camp. So the guys go crazy, the girls go crazy, whatever. One of the guys, his name is Michael, not me though, walks over and steals a hatchet or an axe from the girls. At the end of the time, the guys have got bamboo, and axes and everything. The girls basically have coconuts and bananas and whatever. And the girl said, gee, where's the axe we got? Michael quips up and says, I don't know where it is. But Michael was the one that stole it. So see, the backstabbing has already started. Then they get the maps and they head off to their beach. And lo and behold, the girls get to the beach first and they find out that the guys are going to be on the same area. So that just, whatever, throws them out. When they arrive at camp, they find that there are some wild chickens running around. It's like, yeah, you're going to find chickens in the Polynesian islands.
and one of the ladies, whose name is Chelsea, who's a good old country girl, she catches the chickens. And of course, the backstabbing begins where one says, well, let's work together to catch the chickens. If you get one, we get one, and whatnot. Which kind of works out. They continue at camp. They start to build their shelters. The men get fire first. The women haven't gotten squat. So the women decide to cut a deal. You took our axe. You help us get fire. We will give you a chicken. Sounds fair enough. Of course, the guys don't want it. So then the women start to use their sexuality. One of the women offers to take off their pants and run around for assistance with the fire. One of the guys says, okay, well, I'm going to take a bamboo pole and you're going to do a pole dance naked. CBS is going cha-ching, cha-ching, naked girls equals ratings. Who answers the phone? I don't believe that. I'm going to keep going. I don't care. At nighttime, the girls decide to steal an ember from the guy's fire, which they succeed in doing. So see, the stealing is already going on between the two tribes. Unfortunately, the girls' fire goes out during the night, which should tell the girls, haha, you shouldn't steal, it's bad. The next morning, they cut a deal. If you help us get fire, we will weave parts of the tree for the shelter. They agree, the girls get fire, and all is well. Except for one lady who decides to come up and says, well, I'm going to punch her in the mouth. Not cool. One of the gentlemen, whose name is Colton, came onto the show wearing the preppy dress shirt and sweater around the neck, and he is openly gay. You can tell it in his voice. And as soon as he found out that he was going to be it was guys versus girls, he's like, I'm one of the girls. So not only is he openly gay, he's feminine as well. Not saying that that's a bad thing. That's his lifestyle. So the girls decide to, they think, well, maybe we should help this guy out. Because on the men's side, the players Matthew, Michael, Bill, and Jay were walking around with their shirts off, and Matthew, who is a lawyer, made this statement, we're manly men. They're like the college jocks, they play football and baseball and all that, and they're the buff guys, they're the hard workers. They said, well, we're going to get rid of Colton because he's not manly enough, which is a red flag. I mean, you don't, just because a man is gay does not mean he is less of a man. Or something like, I think a gay man can do a manly job. Okay, a gay man can chop down a tree. A gay man can be a doctor. A gay man can be a lawyer. All those tough jobs. A woman can do it. Women are soldiers. But to go and say that's kind of very disrespectful. Say what?
It's profiling.
It's profiling.
That's wrong.
So Colton makes a plea to the ladies about the hidden immunity idol, saying, if you find it, please give it to me because they're going to get rid of me. Which eventually happens. One of the ladies, her name is Sabrina. She's the black lady on the show, which they put more white people on Survivor than they do black people. That's a thing. But she finds the idol, and there's a twist. She said the idol that was found was for the men tribe, so she now has to give it to somebody, and she eventually ends up giving it to Colton. So in case he feels he's going to be voted out, he can play the idol at any time and go on. The immunity challenge comes up. And the first part of the immunity challenge was a 25-foot fall into a net. And Mr. Jeff Probst told the people the proper way to do this. is to jump, land on your back with your arms close to your body. Some people didn't heed the warning. One lady, her name was Courtney, landed palms out, knees up, and she bent her wrist back, landed wrong. The rest of the team had to continue onto a balance beam. Jeff Probst looks over at Courtney and says, "Are you okay?" Courtney says she feels dizzy. The immunity challenge immediately gets stopped. The medical crew come in. They want to x-ray her wrist. Jeff calls off the challenge. They take her away. And because of a rule, the men are declared the winners. Jeff Probst decides, well, you can finish the challenge or you can take the immunity. The men think about it and they take the immunity. They do not continue on the game. The women felt that the men should be chivalrous and at least give the women a chance to compete, but that didn't happen. They go back to camp. The ladies go to tribal council for the first time, and a bit of an arguing match takes place over the chicken fire weaving incident back at camp. Jeff Probst announces that Courtney did in fact break her wrist. It does require surgery. She will not be coming back to the game, and the ladies do not need to vote anybody out the first episode. So the ladies get a reprieve. So that was the first episode of Survivor. It's on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. Like I say, it's just the whole men versus women thing can bring up a debate. You know, what the men are supposed to do, what the women are supposed to do, the backstabbing. Don't be surprised if, you know, they actually did a good job, CBS, in casting. They actually did pick some very beautiful women. One who is named, let me check my notes real quick. Her name was Alicia. Very beautiful girl. Very boobalicious, if you want me to call it that. And she even wore tight bicycle shorts, or kind of like a bicycle short bikini or whatever, with her ass hanging out. Very beautiful. There's also Monica. Her full name is Monica Culpepper. She is from Florida. I have to give a quick shout out to my pop, who gave me a very important stat. And then I also looked up that she is the former wife of Dante Culpepper of the Minnesota Vikings. So she's the local girl down in Florida, so of course the media is going there. Like I say, if you guys don't care about Survivor, I'm going to rant about it anyway. If I start to feel that it's just not cool enough anymore, or if I miss an episode, I'll probably just let it fizzle out, and I'll just give you a quick whatever on the reality shows on CBS. Upcoming, we've got some good stuff coming. We've got Elimination Chamber on Sunday. We've done our predictions. Watch those. Next week, we're going to do our epic episode of the 50 Oh My God moments. After Elimination Chamber on Sunday, we're going to tape our post-show. That'll come up. And then, you know, like I say, keep those comments going. Give me topics to rant about. And I'll do it. With a little help from my family, because I love them very much. Episode 31 is done. Keep those comments going. Follow me on Twitter at LBStatKid1977. And, oh, we have a new Facebook page. Casa D18 Studios has a Facebook page, so if you want to get a hold of us that way, like us on Facebook, send us a couple notes, and we will get back to you. Statboy is out.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Casa D18 Studios.
This is James Morgan, NWA and Mach 1 Wrestling Superstar.
This is Chris Masters, the Masterpiece.
This is Downtown Bruno.
This is Eric Watts from WWE Tough Enough.
I'm Nova.
Hey, what's up? This your boy, Sean Black.
This is Jess Bella from Santino Brothers.
Gorgeous Joey Chaos.
Yo, monkeys, it's me, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, and you are watching Dads on Wrestling.
The Dads on Wrestling.
Dads on Wrestling.
Dads on Wrestling.
On YouTube.
This week on YouTube.
On YouTube.
On YouTube.
On YouTube. Now stay tuned or you will feel the bang!
Hogan
Smart Watermelon now from China.
That one.
While Jeff looks for another drink or whatever it is he's doing, I'm going to put over a match just because, you know, I've been joking about this over some of the prediction shows, comparing these two guys. Just for shits and giggles, I'd like to see Ezekiel Jackson versus Ahmed Johnson. Smart Watermelon, baby.
Smart Watermelon? Alright.
Not a smart matchup. It's maybe only going to draw about $5–10.
Right. It lasts about 5 minutes.
But it would be interesting to see these two.
Hey, say something for me, okay?
I know, you can gain some of it, man.
This is my last one, I promise.
I only get one?
This is my last one.
Okay.
One apple from China.
See, I wanted to taste that one too, but oh well. I'll just go with the watermelon I got. Jeff, put over a match. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Honestly, I'd like to see the Battle of the Giants. Andre in his prime against Big Show in his prime. I'd like to see these two guys have reinforced the ring, obviously, by a few hundred pounds. But it would be epic to see these two, David and Goliath, if you will, battle it out. Mikey, grab a drink. What do I got, dude? Who would you take in that match? I honestly would have to say,
if we're talking in the prime, I'd have to go on contract.
Andre in his prime, when he was Big Show with the Giant, Life was the Giant. Yeah.
I don't know.
Andre in his prime couldn't be touched. Couldn't be touched.
This is good.
Hulk Hogan.
Hogan, all right.
Versus John Cena.
We saw the Team Choice Awards for a few seconds, and there you go.
Hulk Hogan versus John Cena. We got Hogan Rock. We're going to get Rock Cena, hopefully. Hopefully neither one of them gets injured. That's the only thing, knock on wood, that'll stop it.
You know one match I never
Hogan, Cena.
Good. One that I never saw, and it was actually supposed to happen at a Survivor Series, but they replaced the Superstar with the Big Show. Rock, Stone Cold, and Triple H in a triple threat match. Never happened. Never happened. Never happened. And it almost did at that Survivor Series. Who would you pick? Jesus Christ.
At that point in time, I'd have to go with the King.
If it was at that point in time,
on that line,
I would have to say The Rock. I agree with Jay. Triple H is definitely winning the title. I would.
Here's another one. Arguably the best wrestler in the world of all time, Ric Flair, versus the best wrestler in the world today, not CM Punk, Bryan Danielson.
Oh, that would be one for the...
We're talking Ric Flair, 83 through 87. Against Bryan Danielson, Ring of Honor.
When you talk about the actual best wrestler in the world, you have to talk about Kurt Angle. And I want to see Kurt Angle fight Jack Swagger one day. And it can still happen.
I'll tell you one better than that. I have always wanted to see in my dream WrestleMania cards that I make up, your Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle versus your Canadian hero Bret Hart.
That was talked about a lot. Bret himself has talked about that in his dream situation. So that'd be epic to see. And I go with Kurt. Kurt's the best in the world. I really would. Okay, Jim, which one was that? Yeah.
This is an Inca Cola from Peru.
Oh boy. Can you taste the drug?
Quick shout out to the Peruvian princess Alexis Amor. This one's for you, girl.
I honestly would have to go with another match that we'll never see because we never did see because one of them passed away. Boy Rants.
That's awesome. Kind of got that vanilla Coke kick to it. So if you guys out there like vanilla Coke, Coca-Cola from Peru, baby.
Boy Rogers in his prime against Bob Backlund in his prime.
Okay.
You never saw that match. I don't know if it happened or not. I don't think it did.
Bob Backlund is one that always, gets overlooked in the grand scheme.
Another controversial one I'm going to throw out there. The Iron Sheik versus Muhammad Hassan. I think the battle of the camel clutches, the Iranian terror versus terrorists. The way they drew him out towards the end.
Why don't we make it a tag team match and make the Sheik and the Volkov against Hassan and Davari? Davari was a very underrated cruiserweight.
True. I hate to bring up Hulk again, but he's my favorite. Hulk Hogan in his prime, like 86, 87, versus the 1977-78 Superstar Billy Graham.
Okay. Well, we got some good ones out here.
Triple threat.
You know what? Stat Boy from behind the camera. If you got a match that you've always wanted to see.
How about Stone Cold versus Sandman in a beer drinking match?
Okay.
That'd be a good one.
I'm still waiting on Austin and Goldberg. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but it won't one day. It won't, but
let's
good to dream.
Let's see it. Let's just see it. All right. I think we've done plenty here in this episode of Dad's on Wrestling. We've gone over a lot of stuff.
You can keep going.
Keep going. All
Keep going.
Right now, Hulk Hogan's trying to get a little match in with Austin, and that's probably not gonna happen.
How about in his prime, the Hot Rod, Roddy Piper versus Drew McIntyre? The Irish.
No, they're both Scottish.
There you go. This one is. I would have Artem Polita from Costa Rica.
It's Costa Rica. I'm ready now.
I think that's a good one because, you know, what about Divas? How about Beth Phoenix versus Chyna?
There you go.
How about Chyna versus Karma? I think that would be a good match.
I think the Ninth Wonder of the World versus the Glamazon, since Beth is the only other woman to ever be in the Rumble.
It's a good contest of styles there. I like that.
Pretty much, I'll say this. I would just want Chyna to fight every diva that was good after she left. Pretty much that.
Here goes another one for you. What about Natalya versus Molly Holly?
There you go. Natalya versus another Canadian. Trish Stratus. See that one there. And Trish is still in shape if he can go. She's proven that.
This is true.
One I would have wanted to see in their prime, just because they had that little feud, Fabulous Moolah versus Ivory. I know it's kind of out there, but we met Ivory.
And that shit happened.
That happened.
Well, it didn't happen, but it happened when Moolah was casted. I know.
I think that's what Ray's trying to say. He wants to see that interval.
I don't want to see Mae Young come out with a little crown next there, like getting out there, going through the table.
We love you, May.
How about that?
Here's another one for you.
How about May versus Moolah?
That would probably happen, but we never can see it. It's probably not in the video.
I got one.
Okay.
It's not Divas though. Lawler versus Harley Race. Who's the better king? Thank you.
While we're on the Divas real quick and talking about Moolah, I know you're gonna give me some shit for this one, Jeff. But I'm gonna go independent.
Alright.
The Fabulous Moolah versus Thunder Kitty.
The Fabulous Thunder Kitty. I honestly...
If you have seen Thunder Kitty on NWA, she pretty much has Moolah's old skin.
I honestly would put aside my little whatever toward Kitty and root for Vulture. That'd be a great match.
I think it would be epic.
If you want to talk Indy, how about
Here's Savannah? No, wait, it's not too.
Yeah. I saw that, it was epic.
What about the new sheet versus the original sheet?
There you go. Yes, that point.
How about, even though he's gone, Benoit versus Daniel Bryan?
Bryan Danielson.
Yes.
You know what I mean.
That would be good.
That'd be a good submission match.
That'd be an awesome submission style match. Exactly.
That would be
the greatest NWA champion of the modern era, Adam Pearce, against the greatest NWA champion of this time. Woo! Wow! Over the top.
And you wanted to wrap this up, Staff Boy.
I'm proud of that.
Hey, I don't know.
That we saw the other day at the arena, Jeff Hardy versus Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
There you go. That actually would be a good match, you know. Jeff circa 2000-2001 versus Jimmy Snuka when he was flying off the cage against Don Morocco.
It's not okay to come off the top.
Yeah, seriously. You know, the Superfly that jumped off the cage against the Jeff Hardy that jumped off the top of the freaking balcony at Madison Square Garden.
Or a ladder on the Bubba.
You know?
Yeah.
What about Abyss versus King?
Abyss versus King. But in their primes. Yes, that way.
Sin Cara versus Johnny Goodtime. Because they both fly a lot.
No.
Throw in Evan Bourne for a triple threat match?
That boy got buzzed.
Oh well.
I'm actually waiting for Sin Cara to fight Del Rio to try to bring out a little lucha side of Del Rio.
I'm waiting for Sin Cara Mysterio, and I think we're going to have to wait till WrestleMania for that.
Yeah. All right.
I think that is a good amount of people. What do you guys think? We haven't asked you. Email us, Facebook us, tweet us, IM us if you find us online.
Seriously.
At Statboy, he's lonely for friends.
Add him on Skype.
Let us know what your dream matches are.
And if we hear some good ones, we'll throw them out there in the future.
Yes, let us know what your dream matches are. You know who we are. We'll see you when we see you.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com.
Welcome, NoDQ Galaxy, and we are here with the NoDQ review number 31, and I am Virtue, being joined by Aaron Rift, Greg Cherry, and TJS. What's up, guys? TJS, I'll start with you. I briefly suspended you from this show for 5 minutes because I got mad at you on Twitter.
Yeah.
But you're back.
Yeah. I'm back in the good graces of Mr. Virtue, and you asked what's up. I'll tell you what's not up. Vince McMahon's IQ. We'll get to it. We'll talk about the Braun Strowman heel turn.
Whoa. What's the stock?
What a
What's
start.
the stock
Hot
price
open.
right now?
What?
What's the stock price right now?
80, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
Whatever, man.
Might be higher than the IQ of Vince and the writers, but that's besides the point.
He is making that money. We will say that. Greg, what's going on?
Not too much. The longest reigning. I've done that bit. I overtook Jeff last week. The greatest wrestling trivia mind of all time. That's what I'm going with now. Over 200 total days as champion. I look forward to whoever I face this week, and we got a lot of topics that we have to cover. So let's get into it. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm looking forward to today's video, and in all seriousness, Vince is a genius, and I'm sure a lot of the writers are intelligent. It's not that they're not intelligent, it's that they do not care about what the so-called vocal minority thinks. They don't care what we think or what other people that rant on the internet think. They are going to do whatever they feel like doing. So it's not a matter of intelligence or not. And I also think, as far as the writing goes, I know we're already talking about this before we even get started, but the thing is with Braun Strowman and that heel turn is that I don't think they thought this out very well. With WWE booking, they book week to week, and they figured, okay, we need an opponent now for Roman Reigns after SummerSlam. We really don't have anybody because we've done such a lousy job of building up our heels. Oh, crap, we better turn Braun Strowman heel so Roman has somebody to feud with for the next several months. So anyways,
keep going. That's what we're starting with, Aaron.
All right.
You read the notes. Keep going. Keep going.
Well, I've said my piece on it already, but I feel like this should have been thought out a lot better. I think that there should have been a plan, and at the very least, WWE, if they were hell-bent on keeping Roman Reigns a babyface, they should have built up somebody as a credible heel other than Braun Strowman. Strowman's like the absolute worst choice for all the reasons that we have talked about on social media, that graphic that TJS posted. Braun Strowman was the hottest act in WWE, arguably, even more so than Roman Reigns. And some people are saying, I've seen people say that Braun Strowman is not marketable, which I think is just a complete joke, that idea. With all due respect to the person that said that. But TJS, I know you posted that graphic, so what would you like to add to this whole thing and your overall thoughts on Braun Strowman going heel on this past Monday's Raw? Take it away.
Well, you said it, Aaron. Braun Strowman not marketable? Are you kidding me? It's like you said, if Braun Strowman goes on a talk show, the guy is 6'8". He's close to 400 pounds, and the way that people look at wrestling is they think that it's all fake and whatever. But if you look at Braun Strowman, that guy looks like a champion. Go back to the Hulk Hogan era when you had Hogan. He had the catchphrase, eat your vitamins, say your prayers. He had the look, which Braun also has, along with the catchphrase, the mic skills. Braun has those. The kids love him. Like, I don't get it. Like you said, Braun is super marketable. The get these hands thing is very over. And I don't remember the last time that Braun Strowman got booed. But meanwhile, we have Roman Reigns still being pushed as the top babyface when Shield could have turned heel. And that would have been great because, you have the Giant versus the three other people, and they're ganging up on Braun. But no, they turned Braun heel, and now we're getting the exact same feud that we got not even 2 years ago with heel Braun and babyface Roman. This time there's a title involved. Not a fan of it whatsoever. I think Braun Strowman should be the guy. I think he was the one that should have beaten Lesnar, but it's Vince McMahon, and here we are. Greg?
Do you think any of us are jumping the gun on this because it just happened? Do you think we're trying to... Are we overbooking ourselves on this? And I'm not trying to steal Virtue's thunder by supporting Reigns as a babyface and Braun as a heel, but this is 1 week in defense of the idea of Braun should be a babyface. I do think it is a little strange for his character to align with Ziggler and Drew just because of the monster mentality. I almost had him as a Stone Cold type of don't trust anybody type person. But I do understand it
in the vein of, he does need some help against the Shield. So I'm conflicted on this. I want to see where it goes rather than bury it after it immediately happens. I'm trying to give things a chance as opposed to being like, oh, this is terrible, this is the worst thing they've ever done, fire Road Dogg, etc.
Okay. Well,
Aaron first.
Let me say what I wanted to say real quick. The problem with giving it the benefit of the doubt is people say this all the time. Look at Jinder Mahal. People say, oh, you're too quick to judge it. Let's see how it plays out. That is the excuse. That is the WWE apologist excuse every single time. They say, give it a chance. Let's see how it plays out. They said the same thing about Sasha and Bayley. Let's see how this plays out. And every time we're disappointed. So we really don't have a good reason to want to be able to give this a chance based on the track record of WWE. Greg?
In that same breath, I mean, look at the stuff that started out that was like, oh, why are they doing this? This is going to suck. And it ended up being some of the most entertaining parts of the show.
Like the bar.
Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. When they first started teaming together, it's like, why is Kevin Owens in a tag team with Chris Jericho? They don't need each other. And they ended up having a great storyline for several months. So, what's up, TJS?
I was thinking about WrestleMania when Braun Strowman picked Nicholas as his tag team partner, and that made the bar look like a joke. So why does Strowman need a partner now when he's facing the Shield instead of when there was actually a title match against the bar, who broke the New Day's or who ended the record-setting reign of the New Day, and why did Braun Strowman say that he's going to cash in at Hell in a Cell? He's a heel now, so why wouldn't he just cash in after he laid out the entire Shield at the end of Raw?
You're asking too many questions, man. Too many questions. But also, you forgot to mention that Braun Strowman came to Roman Reigns' aid back in April. I guess we're supposed to totally forget about that. And then next thing we know, Strowman is saying, I don't like you, Roman, just completely out of the blue again. So apparently he went from hating Roman to being okay with him, and then for some completely random reason, doesn't like the guy again. So yeah, it just goes to show that this was likely thrown together last minute. They did not have a good, solid heel to feud with Roman Reigns. Originally, it was booked to be Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens at Hell in a Cell. That's what was being advertised, but Owens was made to look like a complete fool, and now WWE's having to do this angle where he's quitting to try and salvage his character. So Virtue, I know you've been listening to us, so your thoughts on all this?
My silence speaks volumes, because 5 minutes go by, all three of you had a lot to say about this angle that you claim the WWE doesn't care about and just threw together because they don't know who they want to be heel, but yet everybody's talking about it, bitching and complaining, tweeting, social media. Maybe Vince McMahon and company don't, in their eyes, they don't have heels and baby faces anymore, so they're looking at it like, who cares what the fans think? We don't have heels and baby faces. Let's just get Braun 2 guys to equal the Shield in number. So I wanted Braun to cash in the normal way after someone's beat up at the end of SummerSlam, and for him to win the Universal title from Roman after Roman beat Brock. That's what I wanted, and Braun would be our champion right now. We didn't get that, and now he's chasing. The thing is, Vince Russo said, this was interesting. He's like, so when the Shield reunited and triple powerbombed Braun at the end of Raw last week, they basically didn't even do anything on this Raw regarding that angle until the main event, which was weird. The fact that Braun just stood there and looked at Roman and they set it up that way, he's like, you can tell WWE just doesn't care how these guys are perceived, because the way they left hot last week on Raw with the Shield, and then they didn't even care about it until the last 5 minutes of Raw. And what happened? Just that he raised their arms, right? And they beat. And think about this. Why didn't Ambrose and Rollins come out at the same time? Did I miss that correctly? Did one come out first, then the other? So if they
maybe their locker room was on the other side of the building, like Paige with her office.
So, we can nitpick. There's so many issues that are going on here. And, Greg, to your point, maybe Braun's using these 2 guys, and maybe when this feud is over, he'll go right back to being babyface Braun. We don't know. I mean, he has to do more heel things.
Oh,
We
so
say heel
he'll be like
turn.
Big
We
Show.
say-
He'll be like Big Show, so he just goes back and forth every week to the point
that's
where
what
nobody
they do.
cares about him.
Well, let's see. I didn't say every week. We're talking when this feud is over. Maybe when he doesn't need the numbers against the Shield, what if they revert Braun
Why
back
does he
to
need the
babyface?
numbers against the Shield?
That's WWE's eyes because that's what they do. Does he really? No. It should be a 3-on-1. But see, they don't want to discredit the Shield by having one monster beat 3 guys, so they put random guys with it. Remember we talked about last week? Bray Wyatt, what's he doing? Bring Luke Harper over, and of course they don't want to revisit
And you know
that.
what? If they don't care about who's the babyface or who's the heel, why not do that then? Because the fans would cheer for the Wyatt family. Some of them would cheer for Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose.
Kevin
and Roman
Owens
Reigns
would
by
have been a good
association.
choice.
Well, he's
After
a
he
heel,
said I quit.
but
After he said I
if
quit, that would
WWE
have been
did not care and they're going to let people decide who they want to cheer or boo for, then the Wyatt family would have made way more sense. Braun Strowman is purposely aligning with the heels, and on Raw this week, it was designed to make you feel sympathetic towards Reigns.
You heard the announcers and everything, and they're saying, "Why would Braun do this?" It reminded me of Jim Ross's reaction when Austin turned heel. That's what I feel like they were trying to emulate that.
Yep, exactly.
It was ridiculous.
But if Braun was truly heel, why didn't he just hit Reigns in the back of the head with the briefcase and cash in the dirty heel?
That's
leg?
what I was wondering.
See what I mean? So, like, Greg, I kind of agree with you. We might have to see this thing play out a little bit longer. And if he ends up being a cliche heel with Ziggler and McIntyre, then, we can bring this back up in 4 weeks. I don't know. Anybody else?
I just don't think, and this goes back to like a random segment on Raw in April when Strowman had beaten Reigns up and like tipped over the ambulance, and Angle said that he was going to face Reigns at the next pay-per-view, and Strowman was like, "What?" And I'm like, that is so out of character, it doesn't make sense. Why would he be upset about that? He flipped over a freaking ambulance. Why would he be scared of one dude? Like, why? The character development, I think, is the thing that bothers me.
Well, the thing is, WWE is marketing towards kids. It's a kids' show, and we are adults here talking about a kids' show, trying to find logic in a kids' show. What is wrong with us?
Lots.
Well, Pee-wee's Playhouse had logic. I mean, right? Was that a kid's show? By the way, who misses Saturday morning cartoons and the good lineup they used to have back in the day? And even TGI Friday on Friday, man, I'm telling you what, we watch wrestling 20 hours a week. All right, well, there was a few things that happened on Raw that piqued my interest this week. Let's talk about something that really didn't happen on Raw. It happened on social media. Everybody remembers Jason Sensation back from the Nation of Domination DX parody days. He did some fantastic impersonations. He actually was a roadie, I think, a little bit for WWE, probably helped set up the ring. But, I don't think he really became a huge comedian maybe like he thought he would, being on a big show like that back in the 90s with high ratings. He's been a little quirky. I follow him on Twitter. I've seen him do some weird things, but he nails the wrestling impersonations. What's everybody's thoughts on bad comedy? Because to me, that's what happened with this. I have a gun. I'm in Raw. I snuck it in through security, and I'm going to blow my brains out on TV. Then he said it was a joke. Bad comedy in 2018 like that just doesn't work. Aaron, what's your thoughts, man?
Well, as I said on No DQ Live, I think it was a bad joke in any time period. Doesn't matter if it was 10 years ago or right now. I just don't think that's something you should be joking around about. And especially now with all the things going on with gun shootings, it's just not the time to be making a joke like that when people are already on edge as it is. So the guy did apologize, and I feel bad for him. I hope he gets some help. I was a big fan of the DX skit with the Nation parody and the Corporation parody. I mean, Jason Sensation's a really talented guy, and I feel bad that he's having whatever issues he's having right now. TJS, your thoughts on it?
You said it best, Aaron. And the key to comedy is timing. And like you said, it's never a good time to make this joke, especially on the heels of a shooting in Florida. And I mean, I'm not going to get political here, but I just think that it wasn't something to joke about. Suicide is a very serious matter. And, I'm sure that if people in the arena knew about this, they probably felt, threatened, because if somebody got a gun past security, who's to say that they won't just shoot anybody? It's very sad, and I'm glad. I don't know how to word this, but I'm glad that it was a joke and that he didn't actually kill himself. Like you said, I hope that he gets the help that he needs, and I don't know. An apology really doesn't fix this. Greg, what do you think?
You know, death is not something that should be joked about in any circumstance whatsoever, because, I mean, people have families, people have people that care about them, and, you know, to joke about somebody's death when there are people who care about them is just completely awful, completely wrong in any sense of the imagination. And like you said, we're not going to get political because that just lights another firestorm, for lack of a better term. The fact that Jason Sensation did this shows that he needs some like psychological help, which he needs to get as soon as possible, because you don't joke about that. You don't joke about potentially putting other people in harm's way or having people who are just going to go to a show and have a fun time remember that for the rest of their life. Like, hey, you know, here's a 5-year-old, 7-year-old watching Raw, watching Roman Reigns in the ring, and then this guy next to him shoots himself and kills himself. Like, what are they going to remember about that? They're going to remember that and be traumatized for the rest of their life. I mean, you just do not do that. So Jason, I hope, if you even watch this, like, I hope you get the help you need. You know, seek help as soon as you can, and hopefully you can overcome whatever you need to overcome.
And kudos to Vince Russo, because I saw his name thrown. Everybody hates him, right? But he kind of got in contact Jason Sensation, and of course the authorities were going to do it too. But it's just crazy. Social media, this stuff blows up. If we didn't have social media, he probably would have never tweeted that, because he wouldn't have wanted attention. I mean, back in the day, comedians went to clubs to be funny. They didn't tweet outrageous things on social media. So, yeah, I'm glad that it was a false alarm. What else on Raw? You know what? Elias was cutting a promo, and like he does, he barely gets matches. He doesn't get consistent feuds. They're in Toronto, and unannounced, Trish Stratus comes out. So I got a couple questions for everybody. What'd you think of the segment? I think Elias got buried by Trish to get the evolution over. But what do you think about somebody like Trish coming on Raw and not being announced? That's a big deal. TJS, that's what got me the angriest about that, is she wasn't announced. I mean, I'm all for surprises, but when you need ratings, right?
Yeah. Here's what really just baffles me. Why did they announce the Alexa Bliss Trish Stratus match like a week before this happened? Why not just have Trish Stratus interrupt Alexa Bliss instead of interrupting Elias? I don't get it. Like, WWE just doesn't make sense to me right now. And it seems like creative has nothing for Elias, because he just does the same thing every week now. He just comes out, you know, shits on the crowd, and then gets interrupted or whatever, and that's it. I mean, he's not really going anywhere. I don't remember the last time he had a match. He put on that barn burner with Rollins at Money in the Bank, and ever since then, I just feel like he's floundering, lost in the shuffle. And for Trish to not be announced, I kind of speculated that she would be showing up since it was in her hometown, but still, I don't understand. I'm just tired of the cheap pop, because Trish came out there and was like, oh, you're talking bad about my hometown. And Elias,
they announced HBK for next week, which, you know, he's not a normal regular. It's just, they're inconsistent with that type of stuff.
Maybe the Trish thing was a last-minute thing. I don't know. Aaron?
Well, I thought Trish was going to be there just because it made logical sense. So at least she was there. Yeah, maybe it would have been a better idea to announce her in advance, but yeah, things just happen completely random sometimes, and there's no rhyme or reason. As far as Elias goes, yeah, I look back at Money in the Bank, and I think he would have been better off with the IC title than Seth Rollins. I don't think Seth Rollins needs it. I don't think Ziggler was really the right guy to have the title at this stage of the game. I think Elias could have really benefited from having an IC title run. That's just my take on it. Greg, your thoughts on it?
You know, part of me wonders if Elias is hurt and they're just not saying anything, if that's the reason why he's not having matches, and they want to keep him on TV just to stay relevant. I don't have a problem with surprises. the fact that Trish wasn't announced, not a big deal to me. I mean, she came out, yes, she interrupted Elias, tried to get Evolution over, and Elias got some good digs. You know, she had the TV time. I'm not complaining. I don't have a problem with this segment because, let's face it, in the grand scheme of things, is this going to be a super memorable segment that everybody's going to look back in 15 years and be like, hey, remember that time Trish interrupted Elias? It's not one of those. It's not one of those classics that you're going to remember. So, in my opinion, not that big a deal.
I don't think Elias is hurt because he wrestled. Who's the guy that loses all the time?
Hawkins. Rude?
He wrestled Hawkins. Well, yeah, we could name about 10 wrestlers, but the one that's 0-200 and something. Yeah, Kurt Hawkins. He wrestled him last week on Raw. But yeah, Elias is just a filler gimmick for Raw with the guitar, and he'll get interrupted. He'll be out there for Trish and the women to come out and cut their Evolution promo, and I've accepted that until they've done something different. I like the guy. I think he could be good. Aaron, I agree. He should be the Intercontinental Champion right now.
Well, you know what's funny? Like I was kind of like iffy about Elias, like if I felt like he could really be a big star or not. And then as soon as I started to get sold on him, that's when WWE pretty much gave up on really giving him.
So they have to watch
Thanks a lot, Aaron.
NoDQ.com. Just like Rusev Day, they have to watch you, Aaron. They have somebody.
Greg?
Thanks a lot. You need to quit liking people when other people like them, Aaron. It's all your fault. Damn it.
It's all my fault. Yep.
Throw you down the hill again.
Kevin Owens. So we had a heck of a match on Raw, pay-per-view worthy, or WWE Network event worthy with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. I loved how he got heat. He came out, obviously, everybody knows KO's from Canada. They were in Toronto. Once he started speaking French-Canadian, because, from Montreal, that crowd turned on him. I loved it. He got the heat. They set up the match. It was a fantastic match. All the indie wrestling fans that liked that, you were given a treat. Then afterwards, he sat in the chair from commercial break, and then he said, I quit. Walked away. So speculation's going, what's he going to do? Is he going to become a Paul Heyman guy? What's everyone's thoughts? What's next for Kevin Owens with this? Aaron, you mentioned he has a new deal, right? So he's definitely staying with WWE.
Yeah, it's all part of an angle.
And this is where we really have nothing else to talk about other than fantasy book Kevin Owens. What do you think is going to happen? And thoughts on the match?
Well, I've heard some speculation about maybe Paul Heyman possibly aligning with Kevin Owens, and Owens maybe drops a little bit of weight, puts on a little bit more muscle, comes back with a slightly altered look, with a new coat of paint with Paul Heyman as his mouthpiece, and maybe that's a way that Kevin Owens can be reinvented in WWE. I'd like to see it. I mean, at this stage of the game, I think after the damage that was done with the Strowman program, I think maybe changing up Owens a little bit is the right thing for business and give him a fresh start when he comes back. Maybe keep him off TV for a month or two and then bring him back with Paul Heyman. That's what I would like to see at least. And yeah, that was a great dig at Montreal. And what was the other line about the hockey team, the Raptors? Was that the Iconics that said that?
Yeah, he did it again.
SmackDown.
What? Oh, that was on SmackDown. Okay.
Did someone on WWE actually call the hockey team Raptors, or did Aaron Rift just say Raptors?
I did. What?
Aaron doesn't watch sports.
Okay.
Don't just.
Wait,
What is?
What's,
he just called the hockey team the Raptors. Everybody knows
Is it the
that's
Maple
sketchy.
Leaves?
what are they then? If they're not hockey, what are they?
Basketball.
Wait, Canada
What?
has basketball teams?
Oh boy.
I thought hockey
yes,
was
the Toronto
the only sport
Raptors
in
are the
Canada.
NBA team. Toronto Raptors are the NBA team, Aaron. History lesson here for you.
I
The
didn't
I
Maple
thought
Leafs,
NBA was just United States.
the Maple Leafs are the hockey team. The Blue Jays are the
Greg
baseball
is just
team.
like shaking his head.
I didn't
All right.
know about this either, so don't feel bad, Aaron.
Remember,
Wow.
I'm the same guy that thought Lawrence Taylor played for the Atlanta Braves. Just saying.
Yeah, that's going back a few seasons of wrestling
Wrestling
trivia.
Trivia Challenge.
Yeah.
Okay,
Greg,
so I just
thoughts
made
on-
myself look like a complete sports fool. Whatever.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Greg, thoughts on KO? What do you think of that match? Do you think it's good to have matches like that on Raw, or should they save that for the big events?
You know, it's good to have matches like that on Raw, because if you just save those matches for the pay-per-views, network specials, whatever the case is, then why go to Raw? Why go to SmackDown if you're not going to have a solid match? I mean, you got to entertain that crowd for 3 hours. You put on a solid match like Owens and Rollins did, then, you keep that crowd invested in the rest of the show. So, yeah, having a match like that on the show, even if it's just one a night, I think that works. As far as Owens goes, I mean, Aaron hit it right on the head. He needs something to save face for him after that Strowman program, because he looked like a complete idiot, even though he won the cage match. He needs something to save himself, whether it's coming back with Heyman, whether it's a babyface turn after Strowman turned heel now, so why not flip-flop him and make Owens the babyface and make him, like, Hulk up on Strowman or something and make Strowman, cower a little bit, be like, where'd this come from? Where was this during our feud? I don't know, but Owens needs something, because really since WrestleMania, Owens has been booked terribly.
Yeah.
Since the whole Shane and Daniel Bryan feud, it's been awful for them. The loss of Sami Zayn to injury didn't really help, but they were kind of like drifting apart a little bit. So Owens needs something fresh, and time off of the shows, I think, will help him. Maybe he'll come back at like Survivor Series or something, or after, but he definitely needs the time off. TJS.
TJS, I wanted to ask you this. Do you think Owens has been reliant, the character, has been reliant on a partner, Chris Jericho, Sami Zayn, and then all of a sudden he really didn't have one? You think that's affected it a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. And he even mentioned that in the promo, which I liked that because it at least gave a reason for him getting squashed by Braun. I will say that the match between Rollins and Owens was incredible. It was really good. And Kevin Owens' body language after that match, his facial expressions, he just looked so distraught, and it was believable. I kind of wish that the news didn't break about him signing that 5-year deal, because that would, it's hard to believe this angle now. But I think that Owens needs a little bit of time off, and I think that he should come back as the monster heel that he was in NXT, and that can be your challenger for Reigns right there. I think it would be good, and I agree with you guys. Ever since Owens has come to Raw, he's been a joke, and there's not much else to say about it. I just hope that he comes back, and I'm not sure about the whole Paul Heyman thing, because does Owens really need a mouthpiece? I mean, he's really good on the mic as it is, so I don't know if Paul Heyman would be the best fit for him. Aaron?
Well, I just think any change is good change, and if Paul Heyman's going to align with somebody, I think Owens would be a decent choice. I mean, there's a lot of guys that can talk, but I think Heyman picking Owens as the guy to represent, I think that elevates Owens, the fact that Heyman sees him as a top guy. Heyman dust is being put on Kevin Owens, and I think that could help Owens, just being associated with Paul Heyman. But then again, didn't really work for Curtis Axel and Ryback, did it?
Right. Speaking of and Braun Strowman with the get these hands thing, it was so Ryback feed me more a little bit. That reminded me of that.
You know what? Real quick, doesn't this Braun Strowman heel turn remind you of when Ryback turned heel because WWE did not want to turn Cena, so they turned Ryback instead? Doesn't it feel like the same thing?
That's what they do, and if anything needs a fresh coat of paint, it's creative.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon. And this would have been fantastic. Leave the Shield as kind of heels, or make you think they're heels. Oh, but Roman's in there, so of course they're not going to go. You could have kept Braun baby, and when Owens said he quit, you could have had Owens, who just got beat up in a program by Strowman, have him come out to turn face and be the first guy to join Braun.
Yeah.
They can't even look at that. They can't even get that. That would have been something, right?
Yeah, that's what I said last week, that Owens could finally become friends with Strowman. That would at least be something.
Yeah, and it could have felt a little organic maybe too, because you wouldn't have expected that after he got beat up by him.
Right.
Yep.
You become friends with the bully on the playground. And the funny thing is, Kevin Owens kind of used to be a bully too, so even though the size difference, God, they could have been a good tandem there, but that's WWE for you. All right. So let's talk about the Hell in the Cell. So we got 2 Hell in the Cell matches coming up. Obviously, Braun Strowman cashed in his briefcase, handed it to the Commissioner Corbin, which Aaron, Greg, we've talked about that to keep Braun protected. He's not going to sneak up from somebody. He's going to cash it in. But it felt so lackluster. I don't know why. Yeah. It's going to be in the Hell in the Cell versus Roman. And then also Jeff Hardy, just to have Jeff Hardy in a cell against Randy Orton. And yes, we know it's personal, it's heated. But you got AJ and Joe that's supposed to be personal and heated. The Raw match is for the Universal title. The SmackDown match, nothing on the line. They should have had Joe and AJ. I'm sorry, Jeff and Randy, you could have still had a great match and got sadistic. You didn't need the cage. They just want Jeff Hardy to have more highlights. But the biggest thing, guys, what stands out about this, there's 2 male Hell in a Cell matches. Are they not doing female Hell in a Cell matches? If not, so much for evolution to put the females equal with the men. Greg, what's your thoughts on that? I have a feeling they're not going to do that.
I disagree. I think that it's going to get to the point where they announce Becky and Charlotte is going to be inside Hell in a Cell. But you know what? To be honest, the way that Hell in a Cell is being booked and all the personal rivalries that are happening, I kind of wish they'd lock down this and make every match in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Honestly, because, I mean, you're having a lot of repeat feuds. You're having a lot of personal rivalries, like, coming to a boil. Why not just put every single match in Hell in a Cell? I know because Lockdown kind of killed the concept of a steel cage match a little bit, but in the same breath, it's like, why don't you just have a bunch more matches in Hell in a Cell? I mean, you only do the structure once a year, so why not?
Why don't you just stop doing the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view period and then do a cell match when the situation calls for it? That's what I would like to see personally.
That's not marketable.
I agree with that because I think the gimmick pay-per-views, like having a pay-per-view every year with the same match, gets a little boring, except the Royal Rumble. Because the Royal Rumble makes sense because there's always something on the line and every single Rumble match is different. But if you do like the Hell in a Cell, the TLC, the Elimination Chamber, whatever other matches they come up with that fit that bill, it kind of takes away the luster because then you have the pay-per-view, you expect, okay, at least 1 or 2 or 7 matches are going to be in Hell in a Cell. So, why not? I don't know what they're going to do. I feel like if you did another gimmick match for AJ and Joe, it'd be overkill. Because you got that one in Hell in a Cell with how personal that one's getting with Joe talking about AJ's family. But I don't know. Aaron, do you have anything else to add?
Well, I think 2 is enough. I think doing more is overkill. I'm not a fan of doing an all cage match pay-per-view. As far as which 2 matches, that's definitely debatable. I did do a poll on NoDQ about which match people would like to see contested inside Hell in a Cell, and I can tell you the results right here. By far, the match people most wanted to see inside the cell was AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. Out of 5 choices, that had half of the votes. Next was Charlotte. Next, you just mentioned it, Charlotte and Becky Lynch was actually in second. Third was Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. Fourth was Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy. And just for poops and giggles, I threw the mixed tag team match on there with Bryan and Brie against The Miz and Maurice, which was dead last. So there you go. The fans, at least on NoDQ, wanted to see AJ and Joe, and I felt like that really was the best choice. But if Jeff Hardy wants to do Hell in a Cell, then he's going to be doing Hell in a Cell. And, they got to have one on the Raw brand, so pretty much it has to be Reigns versus Strowman on Raw. So it is what it is, and I think it's a shame for Joe and AJ. I don't know what they're going to do for this next match. And by the way, they have another match coming up at Super Showdown too, which is just completely random. Makes no sense because if AJ Styles wins, why are they even doing a third match? Why are they announcing it in advance when Joe could just, in storyline, get his ass kicked by AJ Styles? It makes no sense whatsoever storyline-wise. And how do you up the ante with these matches now? What do you do next? This is getting very personal, so you got to have something, right? If they just have a normal match at Hell in a Cell, it kind of just doesn't feel right. I mean, TJS or Greg, did you want to add something?
I wanted to add something. I mean, this is also a problem with the WWE trying to promote 3 pay-per-views at the same time. They're trying to promote Hell in a Cell, they're trying to promote the Super Showdown in Australia, and they're trying to promote Evolution, all in the same time. It's like one at a time. You'll pick your battles. Hell in a Cell's first, and then Super Showdown, and then Evolution, and then Survivor Series after that. So, you're not trying to promote the Rumble and WrestleMania at the same time. Why are you trying to promote these 3 at the same time? I know they're all coming up in a pretty short span, but pick one. Focus on Hell in a Cell. Don't worry about the Australia show because people will be there because you don't do shows in Australia very often. Just focus on Hell in a Cell first, my opinion. TJS?
So here's the thing about the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. You've got 3 big matches. You've got Strowman versus Reigns for the Universal title. It makes sense to put that in Hell in a Cell since, you don't want the Shield to get involved.
Yeah,
but at
right.
the same time, they're obviously going to still get involved, but instead of making that a Hell in a Cell match, why not just have Corbin ban them from ringside? You have Reigns as the babyface, Corbin as the heel authority figure. Just say that they're banned from ringside. That way, you can do Joe and AJ inside the cell, which makes sense since it's a personal feud. You have Joe going to AJ's house next week, apparently. So hopefully we get like the whole Brian Pillman, Steve Austin thing, like Aaron said.
It'll be more like the Triple H Randy Orton.
Yeah, I doubt AJ's gonna have like a gun or something, but and then I think that Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton needs to be in Hell in a Cell because we have reasons to care about AJ versus Joe because it's for the title, and Roman versus Strowman is for the title, but Jeff and Randy, that's just kind of in the middle, and I feel like if that's a Hell in a Cell match, people would care about it more. It doesn't have anything on the line, so it needs that extra boost. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And I just wanted to add about the Hell in a Cell match. Yeah, I mean, when was the last time a cage match actually prevented people from interfering? And by the way, I could have sworn that there was a stipulation just a couple months ago where somebody was banned from ringside and they just blatantly interfered anyways and there were no repercussions or nothing. I don't remember the match, but it was like within the past 6 months.
It was probably Ellsworth and Carmella.
That was probably it, too. Yeah. Whatever.
Because the shark cage was supposed to prevent Ellsworth from interfering, and obviously it didn't.
Yeah.
This is typical WWE. So whether or not Becky and Charlotte get a cell match, which they should, they're going to have Jeff and Randy probably kick off, not the kickoff, but the lead off the show with the hot opener. That's going to be the first cage match. So they can have a gap between the 2 big Hell in a Cell matches because we know Roman and Braun's going on last.
And we know AJ and Joe go in there right in the middle, Daddy.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just crazy. Speaking of Super Showdown from Down Under, they are really, really, really hyping up this Undertaker and Triple H thing. So, all right, we know WWE lies with their slogans. The Rock and Cena, once in a lifetime. What happened the following year? End of an era. Now, Shawn has stuck to his guns. He has not wrestled since he lost to The Undertaker. But Triple H, even though he didn't wrestle The Undertaker until this upcoming show, and Undertaker have both wrestled. So they lied to us again, and Triple H tried to cover it in that promo a couple weeks ago. So, Aaron, you're shaking your head. Like, this feels, it's going to be an 80,000-seat venue, right, stadium. So it's a big deal. It's basically like a Greatest Royal Rumble. Let's just make a big event, put it on the network. Let's have mini WrestleManias now where absolutely nothing happens during them. And what are we getting? Taker and Triple H, and they're making it a big deal. Like, it's a bigger deal than anything going on right now for the main younger stars. That's what I'm getting out of it. They're hyping Shawn Michaels coming in next week to cut a promo on it. Aaron?
Well, what's funny about this is that my feeling is the match is going to be basically like John Cena and Triple H. It's going to be a glorified house show match. They're doing all this hype, all this build-up for a match that will probably just have the quality of your average house show match, which I just find to be absolutely hysterical. But I am looking forward to it. It is in Australia, so I think it'll have a better vibe than the Saudi Arabia show. And by the way, it looks like they're doing another Saudi Arabia show in November. So we got more of that to come. Whoop-de-freaking-do. So yeah, I am looking forward to the Australia Super Show. I think the crowd heat will be better, and that'll make it more of a fun show. But I still think it's going to be a glorified house show in a large stadium, just the way I see it. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe they'll do some crazy stuff on that show, but who knows? TJS, your thoughts on it?
Well, this whole show seems like there's going to be no title matches. I mean, you've got your Universal Champion in a six-man tag, along with your Intercontinental Champion. You've got your Raw Women's Champion in a six-man tag, or in a six-woman tag, excuse me.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. And obviously Triple H and Undertaker is headlining. I don't understand why. Is that show sold out?
I don't know exactly how many tickets have been sold, but I'm thinking they're going to have the place full by the time the pay-per-view airs, or event, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if they're struggling to sell tickets. I doubt it, but I mean, what is it, a 60,000-seat arena?
Hey, I think they're going to... Oh, we just lost Greg Cherry. Greg Cherry's like, you know what? I'm done talking about...
Keep on talking. We'll cover him until he's back.
Yeah, like I said, I think maybe they're struggling to sell the tickets. I don't know. But you know Triple H likes those long matches, and I have a feeling that's what we're going to get. I think, but the question is Undertaker really going to go that long? It makes me wonder, do you guys think that this is going to be both of their last matches?
It's never, and by the way, Greg just messaged me power outage. So we got to give him a couple minutes. But you know what? Until wrestlers pass away, there's very few that hold to it. You're never done wrestling, because now Shawn Michaels has stuck to his guns, right? Edge, when you have an injury that you can't come back from, Edge obviously stuck. But if most wrestlers had their way, an Undertaker, can get back into shape. Triple H stays in great shape. They just don't want to let it go. I mean, it'd be like a person working a 9-to-5 for 40 years and retiring at 65. These wrestlers start getting old in their 40s, but they want to keep doing it part-time, this and that. And again, it could be a lot with Vince McMahon, where he loves his older generation stars that carried him through the 90s, and maybe he doesn't want to let them go. And he's like, we got to give them Triple H and Undertaker again.
Yeah, because he can't build new stars. That's the problem.
And I think that's contingent to he's afraid to build new stars. This is a argument I have with guys like Tito Wrestling. He doesn't want people to become bigger than the WWE, like Cena. We've talked about this, like Brock Lesnar, because then it's hard. The Rock, because then it's hard to get him back. And when you do bring him back, it costs you a lot of money. Yep. He likes to control the Braun Strowmans, the Roman Reigns, really to make them feel inferior or whatever the term is, because it's like all they can do is WWE. If it wasn't for WWE, what would you do?
Humble them.
He's not letting these guys become larger than life. That's in my opinion. Braun Strowman is a perfect example of that. That guy should be pushed through the moon larger than life, but it's like every time he gets to that potential, something happens, like the heel turn, right?
They got to bring him back down a little bit. He's getting too big.
Ask Cody what you do without WWE.
Well, he's doing okay, but that you got to travel a lot, and if Cody is making seven figures outside of WWE, kudos to him, but it's like Vito used to say, small fish, small pond, small fish, big pond, or whatever. Right, Aaron? Is it the saying like that? It works for some people, but it doesn't work for others.
Well, I think Jericho is doing good without WWE too. I mean, he's doing the New Japan stuff. He has Fozzy. So,
yeah, but on the indie scene, if you can work, you're in pretty good shape to make a lot of money. But you look at somebody like Ryback, he hasn't really done much since leaving WWE. So I would find it hard to believe that Strowman could not be a big star somewhere else, just because he's just such an enigma. The guy is a freak of nature. You would think a company that was even remotely competent would be able to utilize him and make him a huge star.
If they can afford him, I mean, I'm sure that he wouldn't be cheap.
Right. Well, yeah, that might be an issue with Ryback too. Maybe Ryback's asking price is too high. I think somebody could have done something with Ryback, maybe even Impact Wrestling. But then again, the problem with Impact is their whole reputation has been on just signing former WWE talent instead of making their own homegrown stars.
And you know what? Aaron, we were just talking about The Undertaker. I don't know why I was thinking this, and Greg's power went out. Like, seriously? Like, play off of that, WWE. Make The Undertaker. Like, and the thing is, do you think we're going to see The Undertaker do any promos before this event? Or is it just going to be Triple H doing it and Shawn Michaels?
I think we might see him. I would not be shocked if he does make an appearance. You know, I believe he's going to be backstage at Raw next week, so I would not rule out next week. They might save him for 2 weeks or right after Hell in a Cell, but I think there's a decent chance we'll see him before the event.
We'll put him on the Titantron.
Yeah, we'll see. And if Greg comes back, he can end up, if he had anything else to say about that match. But let's move on. I did want to talk about something from SmackDown a little bit. You know, we've had this Becky Lynch and Charlotte feud and what, you know, babyface and heel and this and that, but I don't really want to talk about that. I want to talk about Miz and his wife, Maurice, and Daniel Bryan and Brie. Now, interestingly enough, Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no news out there that Bryan has re-signed a contract yet, right?
Right.
Gosh, they need to make something where his WWE career is threatened in a match. Those are the type of stakes I want. We're talking about stakes, right? Have something where and especially if there's no leak of him having a contract or not having a contract. What do you think about these mixed tag matches like this? To me, this screams Brie and Bryan are winning, just like Cena and Nikki beat them at WrestleMania. So it's like, are you serious? To me, it's like a filler match. But at least Miz is finally starting to get some heat. TJS, what's your thoughts on this scenario? Like, could it be a better feud? Are they just kind of mailing it in here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a mistake to get the wives involved. I think it should have just stayed between Bryan and Miz. I think because the beef was between those two, it doesn't really make sense to bring Brie and Maurice into this. And I don't really enjoy mixed tag team matches. I did like the one at WrestleMania with Ronda, Kurt, Triple H, and Stephanie. But the whole John Cena and Nikki versus Maurice and Miz, I didn't care for it. I don't know. I really think that Daniel Bryan versus Miz should have just been inside Hell in a Cell. That would make the most sense out of any of these, since it was, 8 years in the making. And not sure why we're getting this match, because The Miz didn't win at SummerSlam decisively. So wouldn't it make more sense to just have a one-on-one? I guess we're getting that at Super Showdown, but that match really doesn't count. I'm sure we'll get another one after that. I don't know. The 50-50 booking. I guess that's what we're going to get. Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have a problem with the match. I guess it's being done because the Bella Twins are back and WWE wants to take advantage of them being back. And I'm not sure if Bryan and Brie have ever teamed up on a pay-per-view before. This might be the first. Unfortunately, Greg Cherry's not here because of his power outage, so we cannot ask him if they had teamed up before. I don't remember them teaming up before. So this is kind of an idea that it's there. You could take advantage of it. Maurice interfered at SummerSlam, and that's how you got Brie involved. You set that up. I'm okay with it, and now they're doing the Super Show match, which apparently there's the stipulation that the winner will get a future WWE Championship opportunity. Maybe The Miz wins. Maybe The Miz...
I think so. Maybe
The Miz beats Bryan, and then The Miz wins the WWE title at the Royal Rumble after AJ breaks the record, and then Daniel Bryan wins the Rumble, and you have...
Dude, that would be great. For The Miz to win, to get, even if it's dirty finishes, but for The Miz to keep going over Bryan, whether it was the last match they had, the mixed tag team match, but The Miz keeps going over like a heel's supposed to. Build heat, make Bryan chase, and then Aaron, like you suggested, I've actually suggested this in the past, let's make that Mania one of the Mania main events next year.
Oh, he's alive.
Miz, Greg, he's back, and it was supposed to be TJS was worried about storms in his area and power going out.
Yeah, I had a friggin' power outage. I don't know.
Greg, we were talking about Miz and Maurice versus Bryan and Brie, and Aaron just suggested have Miz keep going over Bryan, and Bryan, even if it's dirty finishes, having Bryan chase, and then Aaron just said maybe Miz can win the WWE title at Royal Rumble. Bryan could win the Royal Rumble, and there's the main event for WrestleMania where finally then Bryan goes over The Miz.
I just laugh because I think a main event, and that would probably still be like in the middle of the card.
But people would be into that scenario. They'd pop huge for it. TJS, anything else you want to say, or we'll pass it to Greg? He's got some catching up to do.
Well, no, I think I'm good to go. Greg, go ahead.
All right. If they do have Miz and Maurice go over Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella, that should be their last match until that potential match at WrestleMania. Now, if they have Bryan and Brie go over Miz and Maurice, that probably still should be their last match against each other for a while. There's really no reason to continue this until what's the next pay-per-view? I mean,
Super Showdown. They're having another one.
The Bellas are already booked for that in the 6-woman tag. So there's really no reason to do Bryan and Miz at Super Showdown. There's really no point to that. What do? Make them teammates on the Survivor Series team then? Because I believe that's after the next pay-per-view after Evolution, the Survivor Series.
Yeah.
There's really no point in continuing the story after Hell in a Cell, in my opinion. So this match should be the last one against each other for a while, unless they decide to go that WWE Championship route with Miz and Bryan.
Yeah, I mean,
fair point.
It's announced for Super Showdown though. Miz and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Oh,
winner gets a future WWE title opportunity.
That's right. I forgot that was announced.
Yeah. So much for that.
Like I said, I'm not paying attention to that card because Hell in a Cell's up next. So
I know it's crazy. It's stupid that they do that. Greg, you want to cut a promo? You want to cut a promo on the Undertaker since we were talking about his match against Triple H when your power went out?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of creepy timing, but Dead Man, if you ever want to challenge, I got this right here. You're gonna have to try and choke slam me to get that. But
hey, maybe Greg is prepping for an excuse when he finally loses the title. He'll say, "Oh, I got a power outage right as he's about to lose the championship."
Ooh. That's probably the only way somebody's gonna beat me for the title, Riff. At this rate. So.
Touche. And speaking of the choke slam, we should maybe bring up this hot topic right now and see what you guys think about it. Virtue, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Trying to use the choke slam as a little transition here.
It's main event time. We've done all my topics, and Greg Cherry actually brought this up, so let's do it. Everybody knows, what's this girl's name? Izzy? Izzy? Okay, so she got choke slammed by a wrestler in the indie scene. Does anyone know the wrestler's name?
No.
Obviously, this is done to try to get this wrestler over, and I watched it. It was soft. It was gentle. It was a good landing. I'm sure they practiced on a trampoline, but I know a lot of veteran wrestlers took a disliking to this, and I don't think it was because of the 12-year-old, right? Because, I mean, Kenny Omega wrestled a 9-year-old girl in Japan, and even though it was very, 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 very choreographed, she got slammed on the mat a little bit, and he's the current #1 wrestler in the world, according to some generic magazine. So I'm not going to say that that's the issue. I think the veteran wrestlers don't like it because you're letting pretty much untrained people breaking kayfabe into the business, and that's what I think is pissing these workers, these veterans off. Greg, I want to start with you because you've been in the indies. What's your take on this, man?
You know what? Surprisingly, I am not necessarily against this, especially since Izzy said this isn't like a full-time thing, and it was just a one-time. It was a one-off, essentially. I also don't have a problem with it because years and years ago, and this was brought up on their DVD, I believe, Eddie and Chavo Guerrero used to wrestle at their indie shows when they were about 6 and 3, and people were really into it. So, and that's the Guerrero family. Not saying that Izzy is, of Guerrero heritage or lineage or anything like that, but she is a huge fan and she wants to be a wrestler someday. So, good for her for knowing what it's about this early, so that she doesn't get her hopes up and get them dashed when she's 18 and really legally allowed to train. So I don't have a problem with the spot. And quite frankly, she took the choke slam better than I've seen some indie guys take it. So, you can't criticize her that much if she takes bumps better than you. Or maybe that's the problem. She takes bumps better than them. But I don't have a problem with it. I see it as the entertainment aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's not like she was being powerbombed through flaming tables or any stupid CZW stuff like that. I mean, it was just a simple back bump. I I don't see a huge problem with it. She wasn't in any real danger, so it's not like the guy was taking liberties. So I don't have a problem with it.
Now, Aaron Rift, so obviously you understand if the veteran wrestlers are upset about letting a child into a ring. I get that because they're very protective. The old school people, especially with the kayfabe. But let's look at it this way. For the people that thought she was in harm's way, when girls in their 6, 7, 8 and boys at 10, 12 years old that get into gymnastics, you're telling me they don't get hurt practicing to do these Olympic type events
Great point.
where their bodies go through way more trauma than wrestling? So what's your thoughts, man?
Pretty much any athletic competition, there's a risk of getting hurt. Kids can get hurt. And I think in this case, like Izzy said, it was a one-off, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. If she was doing it on a regular basis, then yeah, you could make the argument that she probably shouldn't be doing it. And there's been this talk about Paige and what happened with her back because she was doing all these bumps when she was a teenager, when her body was still developing, and that kind of messed her up with scoliosis. So yeah, I could definitely see the concern in that regard. But if this was a one-off thing, and like you said, Virtue, was very safely done, I don't think it was that big of a deal. TJS, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I don't see the problem here. I'll say that the people that are bitching about this are probably the same people that popped when Nicholas won the tag team title with Braun at WrestleMania. And I don't.
But he didn't take a bump, though. He didn't take a bump.
That's true. But if he did take a bump, I wonder if they would have anything to say about it.
Probably.
You know who did take a bump? Mae Young, when she was in her 60s, off of the stage through a table.
I think she was older than that.
Yeah, she was older than that.
Was there backlash to
that? Was Bubba Ray Dudley, right?
Yeah, Bubba Ray Dudley powerbombing her off the stage when she was like 83 or something.
Yeah, and old brittle bones. I don't know. Everything's just so backwards now. There's not much else I can say about this. I don't see the issue here. That's all.
Greg?
I was going to say, have any of you seen the clip of the Young Bucks were like giving a birthday present to like an 8-year-old kid, and they super kicked the dad, and then the kid like got in some leg shots and ran off the ropes, and then the Bucks super kicked the kid. It's like, where's the outrage about that? They're super kicking an 8-year-old in the face. Or do the Young Bucks get away with it because they're indie darlings? Like what do you do there?
Yeah, Greg Cherry, ladies and gentlemen, shooting from the hip.
All right, well, since that was Aaron kind of brought in that as our main event, does anybody else have any topics that we did not discuss today that you feel that we should? I'll start with you, TJS. I saw your hand go up first.
Yes, sir. A list has recently come out. 500 best wrestlers. Yeah, 500 best wrestlers in the world. I'm not going to ask you guys for your 500 best wrestlers, but I will ask you for your top 5. Starting from 5 and going up. Aaron?
Right now?
Oh, yeah, just the best right now.
Spot.
So, over the past year, if I had to pick my top 5 guys, and I'm not sure of the order at this point because I'm still debating it, but obviously AJ Styles having a great run right now. Seth Rollins, he's been putting on clinics. I'm looking at WWE right now. AJ Styles and Seth Rollins are definitely towards the top there. And New Japan, you got to look at Kenny Omega, who was number 1, by the way, on that magazine's list.
Thank you, Chris Jericho.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan, even though he hasn't really lived up to the expectations, I think, up to this point. I mean, he came back, people were excited, but he really hasn't had like a match of the year contender. And then, Ciampa and Gargano, I think, have to be on the list as well. So just throw those guys in there right now off the top of my head. Greg?
Well, you mentioned lists. I mean, how can you mention lists and not include Chris Jericho? Because that guy has had a spectacular year with his matches in New Japan against Naito and with Kenny Omega, and his appearances with WWE as well. He was in the Greatest Royal Rumble. His feud with Kevin Owens over the last year. You have to put Jericho up there. I mean, he probably brought more hype to New Japan than they've had in a long, long time. Not to discount anything the Bullet Club's done, but Jericho really put them over the top there. You'll have to include Omega. You'll have to include Okada if you're talking about New Japan. AJ Styles, you mentioned Ciampa and Gargano. Would you put Aleister Black up there? It's a tough call because he was NXT champion. He did lose it on Raw, and Virtue's a guy like this. You probably have to say Roman Reigns because he has been one of the top guys. Whether you like it or not, you probably have to put Reigns up there too. So I know there was more than 5, but it's hard to come up with 5 on the spot just like that.
Yeah.
All right, I wouldn't put Reigns in my top 5 because I think WWE should have made him heel. Anyway, is it my turn, by the way, guys?
Yeah,
go for it.
I'd like to put Gargano in there. He's probably 6, so that's my honorable mention. I just briefly came up with this. We're going to go counting backwards from 5. Number 5, Chris Jericho. I would have liked to see a couple more matches. He had 2 or 3, but he taught Kenny Omega how to sports entertain. Maybe Omega was already going to know how to do that anyway. And New Japan finally said, you're going to be our IWGP Heavyweight Champion. So Jericho 5, Ciampa 4, Rollins 3, AJ 2, and Kenny Omega 1. That's my list.
All right, so you agree with that magazine about number 1?
Yeah, I actually picked Kenny Omega for the last probably year and a half as number 1. That's the guy that I would like to see in WWE the most. Yes, we know when you come to WWE, things are different, right? And you're not necessarily your matches. Look at Nakamura, right? But I want to see it. I want to see what they would do with him. My intrigue lies on Kenny Omega more than any other wrestler because we're WWE fans mostly, right? That's the main product we watch, we talk about. That's where you want to see the wrestlers, even with the crappy booking and the stale creative.
And keep in mind,
you still want to see it because it's the big stage.
And keep in mind, WWE is the busiest schedule. Look at AJ Styles. He just did his 30th straight pay-per-view match in a row, and he's been doing the live events. I mean, he's gotten little injuries here and there, but he's been consistent since he came in January 2016. So naturally, that's going to take a toll on your body also, and maybe that could be a factor in AJ not being able to have the type of match that somebody like Kenny Omega can have. So I think it's a combination of that and the fact that the creative just isn't allowing him to go out there and have the kind of match we know he can have.
Exactly, and Omega got to wrestle Jericho. He had a fantastic match that Meltzer didn't give more than 3.75 stars. Probably to me, besides the Jericho match, I liked Omega and Switchblade. That was a fantastic match that nobody talks about. And then, of course, we know he wrestled Okada. Omega's had the gift of being booked in these matches where his opponents can help him deliver great matches. So, yeah, we're biased, right? He's had an unfair advantage because some other wrestlers don't get the opportunities other ones do. Because isn't that list, right, TJS? It's kayfabe list. It's based on how you're booked for the most part. Championships you won, main events you've been in. So, that's my take on it.
Before I give my 5, I want to know, Virtue, you made it clear who you think is better between AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. I want to get Aaron's input and Greg's. Who do you think is the better wrestler all around?
Between AJ Styles and Seth Rollins?
Between yeah.
Well, I would say in 2018, this past year, I'd go with Rollins. I think Rollins has been stealing the show more times than not. I think he's been the MVP of Monday Night Raw. AJ has been very consistent, though, but I think Rollins has just been a little bit more memorable with his performances, especially that gauntlet match earlier this year. I think Rollins is just on a level that very few can reach. AJ has been close, but I think I would give the slight edge to Rollins, at least for this past year. Greg,
what do you think?
I think I'd have to give a slight edge to AJ.
I
know Rollins has been fantastic this year, but AJ Styles is also AJ Styles. Yep. AJ has been, no pun intended.
AJ sells better than Rollins. Rollins is fantastic in his matches, but he doesn't sell that well, in my opinion.
I've been an AJ fan since the early TNA days, and that's how I became a fan of Christopher Daniels too, who I actually believe is better than AJ. And maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but I'm a solid Daniels guy, and I always have been.
I am too.
AJ, I think, is slightly better than Rollins. I don't know if the two of them have ever faced off. I don't think it's ever happened. I've never seen any match clips of it. It might have. If there is, put them in the comments if you find one. But I don't think it's happened. I might be wrong because my Ring of Honor history is weak.
Yeah,
But
they might have at some point. They might have done a PWG match at some point. I don't remember off the top of my head, but
Aaron, do this philosophy. Put AJ in Rollins' place, and he would have wrestled all those exact same matches and same lengths as Rollins did. What would you say then? See what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
So the
probably
booking-
say he's better then. Yeah.
I'm also not counting the Survivor Series match because that's not a one-on-one. I'm talking straight up one-on-one matches. That's 2016 Survivor
well,
Series.
I think this year's
2017 really
No
doesn't
DQ
count.
Year-End Awards is going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be one of the closest matches ever in terms of the voting. I'm really curious to see how people vote on that one. I think it's going to be very close between Rollins and AJ. I'd like to see Bryan in the mix, but my feeling is, he needs that breakout performance, and he really hasn't had it since coming back, in my opinion. And Omega will be up there too. It's going to be a fun male superstar of the year voting period this year for the No DQ Awards for sure.
Start putting them in the comments, folks. No DQ Galaxy. Load our comments up for this video of your top 5 in order. And we can get it's like a case study. We can get a better understanding where year-end awards might go.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go ahead and give my 5. Number 5, I have to say, Braun Strowman. I mean, the guy, he's solid. You can't, and he's good at what he does because he's supposed to be a powerhouse. He's a giant, and he's really good at what he does. He doesn't put on technical clinics, but he's not supposed to. So I think he's very good at the role that he's in. 4, I think it's got to be Chris Jericho. It's like you guys said, solid matches. Even though he hasn't had a whole lot, he's still the GOAT in my opinion. And number 3, I think Johnny Gargano. He's had several Match of the Year contenders, and he's a great babyface. Awesome stuff. And now, to answer the question, who I think is better between AJ and Rollins, number 2, I have to give to AJ because he's not having the super memorable matches like Rollins is. I can't name many really good AJ Styles matches, this year, but with Rollins, I can name at least 3 off the top of my head, and that's why Rollins, I believe, is the current best wrestler in the world.
Over Omega?
Over Omega.
Is it WWE bias, you think?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's okay.
Well, keep in mind, again, look at the schedule that these guys have. Does Kenny Omega have the schedule that Seth Rollins has? If Seth Rollins was doing one big match every couple of months, and he was in New Japan, I think Rollins could do the type of matches that Kenny Omega is having. But Rollins is there almost on a weekly basis, it seems, just stealing the show on Monday Night Raw and really saving the show, in my opinion, making it somewhat worth watching. We're definitely torn. So, like I said, I think it's going to be really close this year with those guys.
Good topic, TGS. We talked about that for 10 minutes. Anybody else have one, or are we?
I say we just save some stuff for next week.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Well, let's go around the horn and do your plugs. Greg, I'll start with you because you're the wrestling. I always get this wrong. Wrestling Trivia Challenge?
Yes.
Champion. Yeah, I'm dyslexic sometimes. Go ahead.
World champion, by the way.
It's okay. And even though you dodged my challenge on Twitter, Virtue, it's okay.
What challenge is it? If I was better at wrestling trivia and retained it better, maybe I need to study. Maybe I'll start going into studying, and when I feel like I'm prepared, maybe you'll probably still be champ by then.
I probably will be, the way this reign's going. 172 plus days, 200 total between the 2 reigns. I mean, who's really going to stop me at this rate? I've had an incredible reign, and I don't look to stop anytime soon. You can follow me on Twitter at PA Sensation. Buy a shirt, ProWrestlingTees.com/PA Sensation. There's going to be a sale this weekend. I think it's because All In's happening.
Yep.
And I'm surprised we really didn't talk about that at all on the show because it's happening this weekend.
I know, right?
Yeah, but you know what? You know what else is happening?
We'll talk about it after. Yeah, we'll talk about it afterwards.
I was going to say call-in is happening, and that's Aaron's things, which I'm sure he'll plug in just a little bit. But ProWrestlingTees.com/PA Sensation. Buy a shirt. buy a shirt from the NoDQ, just search NoDQ on Pro Wrestling Tees. You'll find all our shirts. You'll find TJS's, Virtues, Riffs. Rift has, and Jeff has like 25. You know, find a shirt that you like. There's a sale going on. Buy them all. Buy all my shirts. Buy all the NoDQ shirts. Give them to your friends. Give them something cool to wear.
Yep, definitely.
Cool. Well, thank you, Greg, for being on again. Now we're going to pass it to TJS.
Yes.
Greg, how long did you say you've been Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion?
For this reign, it'll be 173 days, I believe, in counting.
Well, okay, Greg, I hate to break it to you, man, but your reign's not going to hit the 180 because I'm taking the Wrestling Trivia Challenge championship from you. I'm issuing you a challenge.
Look at this. Right here on the No DQ review number 31, baby.
I'm going to take that title from you. I'm going to humble you like the Iron Sheik did. And I'm sorry, man, but it's got to go. And when I annihilate Greg Cherry, I'm dedicating the match to my friend Virtue. So, sleep with that title next to your pillow, Greg.
He does.
I hope so, because I'm coming for it. And there's nothing that you can do about that. In other news, you can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_TJS. And you can go to NoDQ.com/TJS. It'll take you to my Facebook page. And you can follow me on Instagram at NoDQ_TJS. And soon you'll see me posing with the Wrestling Trivia Challenge Championship.
Damn. New profile pic.
Yes,
Greg, you have something else to say.
Of course I do. I always have something to say when somebody
promo time.
Exactly. TJS, I'll keep it short and sweet. You might as well dedicate this match to Cindy because you're going to do just about as well as her.
Whoa.
Okay.
I'm going to be champion for as long as I want to keep it, and I don't want to lose it anytime soon. So you better study up because you're going to be in for a fight.
We'll see. We'll see.
Can we put it in Hell in a Cell?
We probably could. I mean, why not?
Trivia in a cell. I like it. I don't think anybody has done it.
Book it,
Can you put a cell? Yeah, can you put a cell graphic, a cage graphic over the screen like a filter? Aaron Rift, tell everybody what you want, man.
Well, there is a Pro Wrestling Tees sale this weekend. The code is all in, 20% off all merchandise. Head over to NoDQ.com/shirts. Pick up a shirt. Everybody's got one. We have over 20 designs on there. And I will be doing the call-in special, 2-hour live stream. Perhaps by the time many of you are watching this, stay tuned to NoDQ.com this weekend. I will be watching All In. I will try to watch it while I'm in Seattle prior to the Foo Fighters concert I'm going to. But I am going to try to do a live video afterwards also. Somehow, between all that chaos with the Foo Fighters show, I'm going to try to do the live reactions video. I'll see. No guarantee, though, but I am going to try to do it and watch the All In event live on pay-per-view. And I definitely think it's worth buying. I know some people are saying they're going to stream it. You know what? Support these guys. They're doing something unprecedented, and they're changing the game. It's good for the business. If you're ever going to buy a pay-per-view, this is the one to buy. You know, this is a big event. It's a big deal. I say show these guys the support. Order it on pay-per-view. Everybody, everyone watching this, Greg, you buy it. TJS, you buy it. Virtue, you buy it. Support indie wrestling. Help the business grow stronger. That's all I got.
Okay, support indie wrestling. If you live near Cleveland on September 15th, UXWA, Maximum Effort, and it's going to be Virtue's Army versus Team Razor Sharp, and I threw out the stipulation, when my team wins, it's a six-man tag team match. When my team wins, Razor Sharp is bye-bye from UXWA. And I'm so confident if they win, if his team wins, at the next event, he gets me in the ring for 5 minutes.
Whoa.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So if you live anywhere near Cleveland, it's $10 for pre-sale tickets, people. Get a hold of me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue or on Facebook, NoDQ.com/Virtue with a small V. That's all I got. So for Aaron Rift, for Greg Cherry, and for TJS, I'm Virtue. See you next week.